Howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon, Courts of Everest. This is our homebrew D&D game. I am Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master this evening and most, and joining me are my friends Matt, Tina, Kara, Hannah, and Alana. We're going to play D&D tonight, but a couple of announcements before we get started. What?
I was getting ready to play Monopoly.
Oh man, I had the car already. We played Mosaic Team 5 last night, a Starfinder campaign. It was a just nice, calm evening. You can see all of the calm parts of that evening. Cool. On Sunday at 12 noon, followed by this, re-aired at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a YouTube, speaking of, at Alberon RPG for YouTube, Instagram, all those things. We have a lot of maps and props and things of that nature, like the ship that Kara painted, and also the body of Billy. But all of those things you can see a lot more clearly on Instagram at Alberon RPG. And then finally, this is a very short announcement week. We have Sirenscape, a digital toolset that you can use to add music into your life. Right now it's playing some background music, but you can, I gotta add more one-shot sounds. Wait, I can do that because you can have multiple sound effects. You can do things like, this just says, it's the Kraken.
Not a sponsor. It's the Kraken.
So maybe you don't like doing voices. You can just have
a little more literal than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, literally, it's the Kraken. This one's R. And so for your pirate-themed birthday parties, picnics, or other pirate-themed things, you can use Sirenscape.
Just my day-to-day joke.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah,
Spice up the bedroom.
Us in the healthcare field, we really lean on it. All right. And with that, I can jump into our recap. I remembered. Yeah. It only took me about a month and a half. So, adventurers. Last that we played. You searched the room underneath in this place. You found Minka, a beautiful sickle in the shape of the moon, and as the little elements of Alina's glowing moon mote struck it, you could see it actually held that moonlight in a very magical way. You found a little bit of platinum Cheshire in the sand there, and then made your way back up to the ship after speaking about whether or not Sade was particularly trustworthy. Sade recovered Billy what you knew to be a sphere covered in Zinyi, an obscure language from Northern Dominion, having learned it from somebody from your past. You exited and began your ascent to the surface. You climbed aboard the ship and proceeded to have an incredibly chaotic night. Cheshire, you tormented Ori and a dwarf by making him believe that the ship was haunted, casting various illusions and using a subtle trickery to essentially drive this dwarf to madness. Ori, in turn, you got absurdly drunk, abusing your water-breathing ability to the fullest. Minka, you considered your new weapon, and becoming attuned to it, found that this was a moon sickle that did grant you a number of benefits. I know, as I read that, I was like, oh, I bet that's on purpose. Alina, you slept really well. Billy, you spoke to Sade, learned a little bit more about Sade's mission, that she was seeking somebody, and that this orb was a map to a place across the astral sea, a place known as a glimmering oasis where all heroes go to die, and then beyond that, the person that she sought. The second day, somehow more chaotic still. Minka, you noticed that the dwarf was a little anxious, and so you cast protection from good and evil with such good intentions, resulting in him feeling so much better. So much better, in fact, that he no longer needed the flute which he had purchased from Cheshire the evening before, and decided to throw it out the window. This rapidly devolved, with feelings of anger, guilt, shame, and fear oozing overboard. Minka, you confided this in Billy, who shared your burden for some time before, finally, in a perfect storm, the dwarf arrived, having drinks with Ori, Billy really pushing the event a little bit further. Ori, you learned what happened to your flute. Many of you slept, the Ori fitfully, thinking of ways to return your flute from the bottom of the ocean, a very possible mission. As you, in the early morning hours, with the rest of you sleeping, decided, Ori, that you were to exit the ship, asking for various favors to try to make this possible. You notice the water rising up to meet the ship.
Long rope in a boat.
Water elementals attacked. All of you handled this to varying degrees of success, or you, the only one aboard at that present time, found yourself beset initially. Cheshire, you awoke, but took a very roundabout path to aiding in this battle, becoming invisible and helping. Billy, this battle for you was particularly difficult. You held your own up front, battling against not one, not two, but three of these water elementals. But it wasn't really the water elementals that you had to worry about. Minka, bringer of death. You fought powerfully, dealing blow after blow to these creatures and also healing your allies until a misplaced guiding bolt slayed Billy. And Billy, with a unfortunately timed natural one, which does seem to be kind of an ongoing theme, you breathed your last. And as Billy lies dead in this puddle of receding magical water, that is where we begin this evening. Give me just one.
I feel awesome.
Yeah, you're like,
Just have the best sleep of my life.
You've been sleeping for 2 days straight. Actually, 28 hours. So you can wake up whenever you want, Alina. For all of you. You are now aboard this ship. It is just after 5 in the morning. And now, as you make your way across the Anima Mare, this ocean just south of the Emerald Expanse, the sky overhead now features the same forever twilight transitioning to dusk. And this darkness becomes much more familiar to you all. Billy is dead, lying between most of you now, gathered next to this crew member who also fell in battle to Minka.
not Jimmins, right?
Not Jimmins. Jimmins is wet. He's a little tired than you, but he's alive. For what it's worth, having been aboard for probably about 2 days, you would know this was Amon Red, an individual who now the most recent person to leave the ship. What would you like to do?
At this point, you said it's morning, right? Like early morning.
Early morning. 5:22 a.m. I do have the exact time.
At the 10th of summertide.
So Alina's gonna like wander above deck. Like, that's so weird. Why is nobody else down here
Billy
sleeping?
actually dead? Have we actually checked the body?
Make a medicine check. You have not. You can see as like the bodies were brought above to get out of
we can
the.
do? Like,
I
smash?
tried to heal her and it did not work.
Yes.
Yeah, you dead as dirt. Sorry.
What was that?
It was a 5.
It was a 5. Billy, as you get down, Ori, next to Billy, Billy already had kind of a strange hue to their skin, and so it's kind of hard to tell what has changed. It's very possible. You bend down, you listen. There might be a heartbeat. Sirenscape.
At this point, Alina probably has arrived on deck,
It's very faint.
Why didn't the spell work? And Alina goes, "What the ever-loving fuck happened here?"
Oh no.
Then you can see all the crew members turn. Following Alina, also very much asleep, or half asleep, Sade.
And Alina's gonna push everyone aside and be like, "Billy?
She's still breathing, I think.
You bend down, you can see Ori like crouched down over Billy. Billy's eyes open. Elements of the elemental water have like come across her face, and so you can see there are like tiny pools of water that have settled over the still open eyes. Probably not doing great.
Is she actually still breathing?"
You get close, and you being much more familiar with Billy without even a check, not at all. And as you like touch Billy's skin, a little bit cooler to the touch than it should have, like any living creature has any right to be, certainly not alive anymore.
How did this happen?
It's all my fault.
No.
I killed them.
No.
You can see the dwarf is like holding this axe, and he goes, "No, it really was her."
It was it's water elementals, and there's a blur of
If there were,
action. You can't blame.
I don't want to know. Everybody be
anyone
quiet.
really.
And I'm gonna look around for Cheshire.
Okay.
She around?
Make a perception check.
Visible.
Are you sneaking?
5.
You haven't seen Cheshire in some time. You definitely heard Cheshire because Cheshire was casting all kinds of illusions, ghosts, seals, but you haven't seen them.
So, Alina is going to, because she knows that Cheshire might be around here somewhere, she's going to check Billy's stuff, see that there's nothing missing. Is there anything missing?
As you look through Billy's stuff, and you have a pretty good idea as to what Billy has, no.
Okay. So she's gonna take off her ring, hand it to Ori, and say, "If Cheshire gets a hold of this, I will kill you." Nope. And hands it to him. And then she gathers up all of Billy's equipment very neatly and boom, disappears into the ring.
Okay.
A couple seconds later, boom, she bamps back, holding nothing.
Okay.
Takes the ring back, puts it on.
What?
What do we do?
Okay, so we're on our way to Petrichor, right? There are clerics there, healers.
Oh god,
Good.
what did he just say? He just said it.
You can see Sade
Healers in
taps this
Petrichor.
other corpse with her boot, and he's also quite dead. Very much like burned, and you can see like the radiant fire has like removed elements of their beard and skin. But she turns, and still a little sleepy, says, "It is at least one day to Petrichor."
Right. Well, there's nothing that we can really do at this point.
Sorry for rain okay. We need gems. We need a whole lot of them.
We're on a ship. There's
Alina is going to reach down and take Billy's ear cuff and put it on her own ear for safekeeping.
Okay, no problem. You pull that out. You look around amongst all of your jewelry. You have little elements of gems, but nothing that would really work for the purposes of what you need.
Why don't we? I'll help you find some gems. Let's give some a moment.
Alina's gonna pick up Billy.
Take the time you need.
Fuck you, Ori. She's gonna pick up Billy and take her down to like, I guess, her quarters and just sit with the body, like do a vigil, basically.
Okay. You bring her down, and amongst the sort of area that is a common crew quarters, the bunk that I think when Billy takes a bunk, probably it stays Billy's bunk, and so very much empty at this point.
Okay. So she's gonna lay her down and then just like sit in front of where she is and pout.
Make a perception check.
15.
Okay. You sit there for a little bit while, and you do feel the ship begin to accelerate a little bit over time, and it seems like a little earlier than intended, getting underway. For the rest of you on deck, Sade does direct people to begin to like move more of the crew. There's not a lot of crew left anymore. Yeah, there's about 4 guys left, and so the crew, relatively small, does have some trouble getting everything going. But before too long, they move. The dwarf, for his part, and Kanor take the body of their fallen comrade down to below deck.
Well, at least they don't just toss him overboard.
I think probably the dwarf, as he's like carrying him, holding the feet, and Kanor holding the head, the dwarf like sees you and just says, "Do you want some salt?"
Alina's just gonna look at him.
She'll start to smell very soon.
I guess.
Just a moment. And he goes, and like the two of them lumber this body off, and you hear like a thump, and like just kind of putting it over in the cargo hold. He returns with a big bag of salt, and he just says, "Spread it across her, and if you have any extra blankets or something like that, as close as you can get to airtight is good."
Okay. Alina's nothing if not pragmatic, so she'll follow that advice.
Yeah, no worries. You cover Billy in salt and kind of like layering it over her. The last bit that you can see is her face. Nobody's closed her eyes, so still very much open.
Salt in the eyes.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
This thing. Yeah.
You shut the eyes. Almost completely cold to the touch is Billy at this point, but you cover up her face with salt, trying to keep it as close to airtight as you can. And you begin your vigil.
Is there anybody around?
At this point, no. Everybody's trying to get things going.
Alina bursts into tears.
Okay.
And just, does that situation. Rather not roleplay it, but it happens.
Yeah. So no problem.
Start crying on command.
You can't just cry. I can actually just cry, but it would get real ugly real fast.
Poke myself in the eye.
I was just more I could just think about current events for a little while.
Life.
You guys get underway. It is a somber morning, and especially for you, Minka. As you are walking, you can't help but feel, as you pass some of the crew, they do give you looks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your fault.
What do you mean it's not my fault?
I see why you think it's your fault, but
I killed both of them. And I lost your flute.
when you put it all together, it does sound bad. But
Oh, God.
we'll figure something out. We'll get through it. There's no point in being upset past what's already happened, because we're on a ship. We're going to Petrichor. There's nothing you can do till we get there.
You can see the dwarf is walking by and he goes, "You can't just get off a ship," and just keeps going.
I wish you'd killed him instead. Being perfectly honest. Sorry.
No,
trying to lighten the mood.
no one else.
No
one else. We've killed so many people already. And I just killed you. Oh my God.
You know, this
Alina's
line
never
of
gonna
work
forgive me.
is
Billy's never gonna forgive me.
long.
I'm going to be haunted.
So, calm down. It's gonna be okay. Again, we're on a ship. There's nothing you can do. It's, gotta kind of live with the consequences. People may consider you a pariah now, but, you can live through that.
Oh.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
You can live through that. Survive and not thrive, ladies and gentlemen. Quotes of Everest.
Spoken by a man who's been a pariah before.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna go find some scrap wood. And then Minka's gonna go into like the bottom of the hold and see if she can find just like scrap wood.
Yeah, no problem. There's like broken barrels and things that actually make a perception check as you go down there.
I feel like, given the current situation, Ori's like,
13.
One
You
side of
supervise.
Cheshire, like,
Yeah, it's tough.
ooh, like, of all the times to finally have some alone time, now I don't want it.
No problem. You
I
go
guess
over.
I'm just gonna go and, like, helicopter parent Minka shuffling through twigs and keeping an eye out for, like, when Cheshire is like, I'm over here, just poof.
Every time, and one thing that you do notice, Minka, is every time that Ori is kind of like following you around and about to go around the corner, he seems to tense up a little bit. And Ori, you wait for that seal, and it, for the first part of the morning, anyways, it doesn't quite seem to emerge. You're waiting for it though, and it gets worse. The longer that time passes, now you become so accustomed to it that just the sound of the waves and the seagulls and the creak of the ship a little bit deafening in its quietness. You almost pray for the ARF. However, going down to the bottom of the cargo hold, you do pass Billy and Alina. You would get down to very quick steps.
But like, not as quickly, just following behind and make eye contact and just like,
Just daggers.
like oh.
You feel the gaze through your hand. It doesn't. No, it absolutely isn't vulnerable to that piercing gaze. But you go down to the bottom. Kanor is there. This first mate, human. He is just kind of standing there. He seems to be considering this draped cloth over the fallen crew member. You remember them. There are a number of boxes, barrels, various elements that speak to like trade goods and cloth and things of that nature. You can see a few boxes that do have like crests and things on them, but certainly there's like scrap wood and stuff like that.
Minga's gonna take some of the scrap wood and she's going to start trying to druidcraft like essentially funeral wreaths.
Okay.
One is gonna be with like horns and like Toys are trying to like mimic like the Billy's like kind of crazy head situation with all like the stuff going on all the time. It's kind of chaotic.
I remember when Billy said, "Remember me by my crazy head situation." That's going on.
Yeah.
Check out this crazy head
It was
situation.
indeed Billy's dying words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember it.
Requiesce and Pache crazy head situation. And then also just make like a second smaller one for Amon Red.
Yeah.
And just be like, just do something. Just doing something.
Kanor turns as you kind of like lay this on top of him, and he nods a little bit and he says, "That's nice. If it makes you feel any better, he didn't have any family." He turns and kind of seems to nod a little bit and just says, "That was nice. Thanks." And he turns and just kind of like heads back upstairs.
Not a great choice of words there. How you holding up?
I'm just gonna keep working on this.
Yep, make your twigs. Yep, they do look very nice. I'm sure that Billy would have tolerated it.
This is really not her vibe at all, is it?
Can't really say.
Oh, okay.
She didn't seem to very much care for me.
We'll figure it out.
And probably won't again if we do bring her back.
We're going to bring her back.
Right. Yeah, no,
we know
it's,
we,
right,
you're
not a question.
Nope.
We're going to go to the temple and we're going to get. Yeah, no, we're totally on the same page there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, priority number one. Yep. But yeah, just make your wreaths.
Yeah.
This is good. Just don't do anything helpful for like the next 24 hours, maybe.
Brutal.
I think it's just gonna sit in the floor of the storage room and just like work on her arts and crafts.
That came across as not quite as
The corpse is like, "Man, that's really
conciliatory
awesome."
I didn't mean to
Billy's ghost is just like
make things worse. Look, I'm not great at expressing condolence.
I don't think I need the
No,
condolence.
it's right. It's, I know things don't look great. And you're probably feeling pretty awful, rightly so. As if it makes you feel any better, not like what he had said, but I do feel some sense of responsibility as well for the situation that we now find ourselves in. So,
Are they standing in a place where I can hear them?
I would say, as it is really quiet, people almost like avoiding the area that you're in, you can certainly hear it.
Nice.
Yeah, sound carries down here.
Yeah.
you know, we all share the burden. So, it's not on you alone, if that helps. work on your twigs. I'll come check on you in a little while. I'm just gonna go look for Cheshire.
Yeah.
Make sure that she's not existing the way that she typically exists.
Okay. We can't. She can't drive Jimin's insane. She can't do it. If she does it, then we're done. No one's gonna be able to. Oh no.
Zooming back up to on board the ship on the deck, it's probably about like 7 o'clock at this point. A few hours pass as you go about these various tasks. Cheshire, what are you doing?
I am just on the hunt for Cheshire at this point.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
So at the end of the battle, I believe I was on the way back down the stairs at that point. Would
Okay.
have continued down to re-find my hidey hole to go back to sleep.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
And then, within that same hidey hole, I have begun my next epic.
Oh no.
Minka the Malicious.
Yes. Fantastic. You begin this next epic, and there's like a point, Minka, where you're down there and you feel like you can't feel any worse as Ori is like trying to make you feel better, and it just isn't working. And then, for no reason that you can discern, you start feeling worse. There's like an ominous feeling aboard, and you can't help but wonder what that means. But no problem. Ori, first of all, make a stealth check.
Gladly.
Just active stealth all the time.
That's a 23.
23, okay. Make a perception check, Ori, and you can use your eye for detail.
I'm looking for hidden creatures and objects. What are you gonna do? You're in trouble now. Because that's...
Confidence.
24.
You find, after looking for a good hour, bringing you to about 9 o'clock, you find there is a place where, as the crates shift and move with the back and forth motion of the ship, you see a little gap. And where there should just be like more cargo, it's like things have been pushed out of the way. And though nobody else aboard the ship has their own room, Cheshire, amongst the cargo boxes and crates, has created a like relatively comfortable living space.
No, you're in there. Just don't. Just come out for a minute. I know you're in there. I know you can hear me.
My head out.
You're like knocking on a chest, and Cheshire just opens the chest drawer, and like there's a bottom that was been taken away, and so it's actually just a functional door now. It's like almost a real house at this point, and she's been here for like a day. But yeah,
What do you want?
Like what you've done with the place? So anything that you'd like to say to me or anyone else in particular for the recent occurrences that you have potentially been involved with?
What do you mean? I helped you when you were getting into trouble up on the deck?
You stole my flute.
You made a whole bunch
You
of
gave
noise
it
and
to
woke
a
everybody up.
dwarf after you haunted him. He threw it over the side of the ship,
Certainly did
which
not.
caused
I
me to
will
lose my
not
temper,
have you
which is
coming
causing me to
into
lose my temper again,
home.
which
Minka.
caused people
5 feet away from
die.
you as this happens. It's in the cargo hold. It's not terribly large, so you're like trying to work at arts and crafts. You feel way worse, and then this all happens like right next to you.
Can I hear it?
Oh yeah, more than the other side.
Someone died because
All
of
three
you.
of them have been implicated now.
No.
Me.
Well, you
Guys,
pushed the pebble over the edge, and then
I
it started to
am
roll
insulted,
down the
sir.
hill, and then
We're
that
still in the
small
sea.
pebble
We're
hit
still in
the
the sea.
large
We're still in the
boulder,
sea. We're
and
still
that
in the
large
sea.
boulder rolled over the body that's dead now. 2 bodies.
The water does rock the boat a little bit stronger, and at that same time above deck, you do hear the bells of the ship sound once and then again.
What's 2 bells mean?
I don't know.
As this Kanor comes down, he just says, "If anybody's interested, we are coming upon a merchant vessel out of Dungannon. We intend to hail them to see what they carry."
Gems?
I don't know. We intend to hail them to see what they carry.
Alright, we'll be up in a moment.
All right.
Thanks.
And he turns and heads back up.
I had shut the door already.
We're not finished. And don't try to steal anything from this merchant.
Minka's gonna try to like
Enough already.
furiously
I don't even
craft
have
as
money
many
for this.
random goods as she can out of like to try to like something to
Make a
sell.
performance check.
This is really performance.
I think you stole. I have 2 gold. You stole everything from me.
Oh, an 18.
18. Okay. So as you hear this, and as soon as Ori starts like going upstairs, you just furiously start druid crafting. Little trinkets and kind of like woven elements and anything that you can kind of think of that you might be able to sell or trade or barter. Think about what you want that to be.
Yeah.
But a little bit of time goes by, and who's going up to the deck? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Once they clear out.
Okay.
I'll go up with the intent of seeing if there's anything that
Okay.
can do a little resurrection.
Minka?
She's gonna focus on making the things, and then as soon as she feels like she has like enough or has used up all the local materials,
Yeah.
then she'll go up.
Okay, no problem.
It's primarily gonna be like bracelets and rings and simple necklaces, but like all with like various like floral elements and like geometric elements for
Okay.
like some of them.
Awesome. No problem. So yeah, you and many of these come out really nice, and you're able to get like little blossoms to come out, and like very you use color theory to make sure that like as they curve around, it almost looks like iridescent when you hold it. It's really nice. No problem. For those of you who do go up aboard, as a little bit of time goes by, you can see a shadow appear on the horizon. And against the dusk sky, it's hard to see, but it does get a little bit bigger. This is a 2-masted ship. You can see just a little bit larger than your own. Probably has a pretty big cargo hold. And as it gets a little bit closer, does anybody read Infernal?
Do I? I used to.
That's negative.
Nope.
On the outset, it says Fausta de Lilith, and you don't know what that means.
Was that French?
Do you speak French? I took French. I took French as a language. You can see that just kind of written in this kind of like scrawling black script. And aboard the ship, as it does draw a little bit closer, you can see there is a shorter tiefling who very much like a kind of like tan skin, although not dissimilar to Billy, had a little bit of a faint purple cast to the skin. Although it is perfectly even across their body versus the kind of gradient that Billy had. Is anybody doing anything, or are you just kind of allowing them to approach?
It's clearly a merchant vessel,
Make a perception check.
not like a false flag pirate ship coming to plunder what the 2 gold I have.
That's the perception check. That's what it's for.
22.
22. With the 22, you can see a number of tieflings. There is a human, a couple of people, and none of them look like pirates. They're all wearing like relatively like rugged seawear, much of it like sun bleached. Many of them like they're sailors, and I would say you can see on deck there are a few like boxes that have been kind of attached to the top. Maybe the cargo hold's completely full. And actually, with that, I would say one of those crates open on the top, and so you can see the contents. Many different bottles, all different kinds of bottles. But they draw closer, and
Like empty bottles or bottles
22.
filled
You
with
see
content?
You see content.
Contents.
There's an empty bottle sales.
With the 22,
Recycling crew.
with the 22, as this tiefling kind of draws up and just says, "Hell, you can see there are like circular glass bottles with red liquid. You see there is a weird pewter
Actual
jar.
glass?
Yes, almost all of these. There's a pewter jar that does have like a whiteout like tincture that you can see that's like coating around the edge of it. There is all kinds of things aboard here.
On her way up, Alina will have communicated to Petal, who is invisible, that
Put them
Yeah.
all on the list.
if Petal is able to identify anything or hears anything identified that might bring Billy back, I've instructed her to try to steal it.
Okay,
Oh shit.
phenomenal.
I don't have any money.
So I think probably at that point, Petal just kind of looks at you, and then if it's big, I she like holds up her hands.
No, I know. Just keep me, just because we have this telekinetic bond, you know?
Yeah,
Okay.
goes invisible. I'm going up the stairs, and she just begins to fly up.
Roger.
So for the rest of you, you see this tiefling who sort of hails you, and Kanor just says, "Do you care to do some trading?" And they nod, and there's like the whole kind of exchange. Ropes are thrown overboard, and you can see actually catching them midair. There's an Aarakocra.
Starts with you.
They grab onto this rope and they like lash it as if they were attaching you to a dock. And before too long, the two ships gently kind of bump against each other, and they do jostle a little bit as you are at sea. But you're able to board safely if you wish.
I do so.
There you go. Kanor is going to go over with you, sort of as the ship's spokesman.
Ambassador.
Ambassador, no problem. But this tiefling greets all of you. Welcome aboard my ship. I'm a fairly simple potions vendor, but if there is anything that you're looking for, we also are dealing with some raw ingredients that are coming out of Cinderain.
I need a resurrection potion.
You can
point
see
there.
he like gestures to the dragonborn, who kind of nods, and he runs downstairs, and he comes back up with like a huge leather tome and just thumps it down in the guy's hands, or in this tiefling's hands, and she looks at it, and like flipping through the pages, she says, "I've got a potion of healing, climbing, elixir of health, water breathing heroism. I don't have anything for resurrection, unfortunately. Apologies, but if you do have somebody with a bit more talent than I have in terms of creating them, we do have many raw ingredients as well."
Alina's going to look at Minka and say, "Now's your chance."
How much would those ingredients be?
Her eyes narrow a little bit at you, but she kind of shakes her head for a second and she says, "Well, it depends on what you're looking for. For a resurrection potion? I've never really heard of that.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?"
We recently lost a few people, and we're trying to do anything to kind of get them, back. We are kind of, at the whole time limit thing, and then,
I don't think I have anything that could help you with that.
Oh,
I do have healing herbs and things of that nature, but nothing.
Do you have anything that's not potions?
Like what?
S-
Potion vendor sort of speaks to potions.
I would like to attempt Thieves' Cant
Okay.
to see, and I'm trying to get poisons.
Okay. So she make it. I'm gonna say
Ma-
diplomacy.
My aunt in Petrichor very sick, and I know you have healing potions, but I think I need something a little more precise and strong for my
I get
aunt.
what you're saying, but again, nothing for resurrection.
Right.
They don't speak thieves' cant.
Mm.
However, behind you, you can see that Aarakocra just head like swivels over, and as like this kind of quasi bird person, it turns far, and so like it is a very noticeable look for you. Yeah, and then the eye turns, and you can see they like regard you with this yellow eye. Here at sea, almost like a seagull Aarakocra, and so like long kind of hooked bill. They're built. I mean, they're a sailor, and so they've been working here. But yeah, you definitely get the sense that they speak thieves' cant.
Well, I have no need for potions, so if you'll excuse me, I will leave it to my compatriots to finish their transactions.
Okay, yeah, you go over, and you can see the Aarakocra just like nods and takes off and lands on the other side of the ship.
Alina does a heel turn and storms back down to where Billy's body is,
No
but
problem.
telepathically tells Petal that, to like invisibly just look around and see if they're hiding anything.
Sure. For Petal, make a investigation check. Keanor looks at you. Minka, you're going over there as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. You talk to her.
Yeah.
Keanor turns and just says, are you looking for anything? Or
Well, okay. How much are the ingredients to make healing potions right now?
For 2 gold pieces, I can provide you with roughly the materials for 4 potions.
Okay. I will take those. Would you be interested in any of these to help trade for?
Is that a bunch of pebbles?
Her eyes narrow even more,
Yeah.
and she says, I don't think so.
Minka just takes out the 2 gold.
I don't really deal with druids. Bad experiences.
Oh. Well.
Oh, she's probably
Sorry.
upcharging you.
Oh God.
Our ship, Cheshire has taken up a very prominent place, clears her throat loudly, and begins the epic of Minka the Malicious.
Okay. So we begin to talk and using these like allusions to really amplify both your voice and the kind of emotions and everything. You begin to feel like as you launch into talking about the Air Genasi Minka, the water feels like it almost makes the boat a little lighter and kind of like floats a little bit more, and the water does almost react with your story. Very quickly, the members aboard your ship get very nervous. The members aboard the other ship are enthused by this. They have not seen ghosts, they have not seen seals, and so this is great for them. They are enthralled by this story.
As this happens, I feel like I was about to be like, my man.
Yeah.
And then this happens, and I'm like, one moment, please. And I'm running over to try and contain this.
Okay.
I'm using him in my story.
I'm like, yes, this is very nice, everyone.
You run over and you're like, and then the moment of Billy's demise. And Ori, as he runs over, he's like, and you, minor illusion, Billy's face over his face. It's like this whole thing. Yeah, and
This is what I'm talking about.
it just goes like this. It doesn't do anything really, but as he moves, it kind of apart.
Except Minka, she already feels bad enough as it is.
Minka's gonna hand over the 2 gold for the
You can see
potion.
she's like,
And then it's just a complete shell shock look at her face and just be like, I have those healing
the
potions.
Dragonborn runs downstairs and comes up and he pulls up these, it's like almost like butcher paper wrapped around what looks like bundles of some kind of maybe like a bush. It has these like small buds and really like perfectly circular green tiny leaves. It looks almost like creosote or something like that. And it smells wonderful. And I would say without even a check, you recognize these are indeed healing herbs, similar to the ones that you have, maybe a little bit better. These are way cheaper than what you have seen them for in the past.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna like take them and just thank you very much. And then I'm gonna just turn around and just kind of like walk back onto the ship and then go downstairs and just that's it.
As you walk,
disappear down.
you do hear like the Dragonborn like gives you the things, and as you walk away, you could hear the Dragonborn just goes, "Wait, is that the blue one?" And like they're like everybody kind of looks at you, and you can hear like whispering, and people are mad at you when you get aboard your ship. It's a tough experience, Mika.
Could you just like
Investigation check for Petal. I'm gonna update my instructions for her.
Okay.
So not only is she looking for anything that they might be having that could do resurrection, but Alina has remembered that they're going to Petrichor. Resurrection spells are probably very expensive, so she's gonna ask Petal to
Take a bag of gold.
like steal like anything valuable she can find that she can fit in her arms, and as
Okay.
soon as she has an armful of valuable things, her instructions are to pop into her pocket dimension.
Okay. What was your check?
17.
A 17. So you hear her just go, I'm going up the stairs. I'm up. The wind kind of takes her. She goes, wow. And then she like flies across, and you can hear she just says, this is like kind of a good story. And then, no, I'm overboard. It's fine. And then she goes down. She like flies downstairs. You hear her narrate this whole thing. She says, I'm in the cargo hold. It's way bigger than ours. Okay. There's boxes, there's kegs, there's a couple chests. What should I look for? What should I look in?
Jewels, anything valuable.
And you can hear she just goes, okay, I'm going to open the first one. And you hear just kind of like humming almost as she's like looking through, and she says, there's some circular bottles in here. There's some corked bottles in here. I see one that's taller. But I'm not sure what I'm looking for. There's no jewels.
Like, not even a cash box?
Looks again and again, and with that check, she says, the only small box that I can see is wood, and it has a weird kind of symbol on it.
All right, hold on. And Alina's gonna take the action of being able to see and hear through Petal's eyes.
Yeah.
So that she can see the box for herself.
A long time ago in the Omni Theater, this really probably dates me, there was an introduction to all of like the IMAX movies, and it was like you like zooming through the whole city into a wormhole. That's kind of what this feels like, as you like zoom through and like go through the ship's hull, and you now see, your eyes adjust into this like dark cargo bay. You can see there's like a number of boxes. There are all kinds of bottles. Certainly a potion vendor, not lying in any way about that. Huge kegs, probably like wholesale potions. But there are crates and crates and crates, and you can see you don't speak Infernal, right?
No.
So all in Infernal, but these are all very neatly labeled. You would be able to just see everything perfectly laid out here if you spoke Infernal. However, you do see this one box that Petal was speaking about. Small, seems to be made of stained oak, and there is a wreath of like herbs that it kind of circles around the lock. And it's probably the size of a cash box, although looking at it, it's just kind of like left on the ground amongst everything else, not like in a place that you would leave valuables, probably.
How big is the box compared to Petal? Very big, right?
As you like think that, Petal, in your mind, you hear, no, I can't do that.
Okay. Petal, try and just, pick the lock.
Okay, I'm picking the lock. And she goes down, make a lock picking check with Petal. I don't think she's proficient in lock picks, and so I think
proficient in stealth.
that's she's gonna sneak through the lock.
So is that Dex?
Yeah.
12.
I can fit my whole arm in. And she just, and like, as you look through, you can see like her shoulder just disappear, and she moves it around, and she just goes, I don't feel anything. I can't pick this lock, I don't think.
Okay.
Your vision just like pulls away and then up to like the lock, and you can see, I would say in the dark, she doesn't have dark vision, does she? Feywild creatures are like 50-50 on that.
No, she doesn't.
In this dark box, hard to tell.
You tried. Good job, Petal. Come on back.
All right, I'm coming back. Bamps away. Up on board, you still dealing with Cheshire.
Well, after Minka has left, I'm just like, at some point we're going to have a very serious conversation about this, and then go talk to this Eric Cocker.
Okay.
Something tells me it's not going to be that serious.
So, Cheshire, you finish your epic. As you do so, make a performance check. Or you walk over to the Aarakocra.
19.
Okay. You finish your epic, and there is no shower of gold, and probably for a good reason. I mean, you don't want people throwing gold at you from a different ship. That's not going to go great, probably. But there is one person, this Dragonborn, who, like, seems to be talking to the captain, who, like, gestures over to you, disappears below deck, and he comes back out and runs across the kind of gangplank that has been set up. And he comes over to you and he says, Captain says this is for you. Good story. And passes you a square glass bottle that seems to be full of just clear liquid. Though as you hold it, even in this forever dusk kind of space, it glimmers a little bit when you agitate it. Almost like luminescent glitter with that.
Many thanks, good sir. Anytime.
It was really the captain that liked it. I like spoken word more. And he turns and just sits back.
Everyone's a critic.
So, is there any... Oh, you go over to the Aarakocra. Okay, so this seagull Aarakocra just like turns regarding you again and just says, you know, I'm working here. I have to...
Apologies for that.
Why? It was a good story.
Yes, sure. So I noticed that you noticed, and I was wondering, an Aarakocra of the sea such as yourself, well-traveled, perhaps you would have something...
Why does it matter that I'm an Aarakocra?
It's just you can.
I'm a sailor too.
Yes,
I'm many
Aarakocra-
things.
Yes, an Aarakocra of the sea is what I was. Anyway,
Well,
I was
an elf of the ass. What is it that you want? Please get it out.
this, looking for some things that may help with.
He straightens up. The captain like comes around the corner, and they just go, "We're leaving soon, so just conclude your business, please."
Oh, of course.
And they head back downstairs, and the Aarakocra goes, "Right away, Captain." So what are you looking for?
Anything of a potent enough quality to cause harm to people in a sort of underhanded method, as those
Poison.
of yes.
You can just say poison.
Right. Well, the thing is, I feel like
Oh yeah, the police might get us. He turns and like looks, there's ocean as long as you can see.
it's not.
Are you wearing a wire?
You know,
The sting
it
operation.
really is none of your concern why I'm asking for it. So if you do, great. I've got a few coin, and if you've got it, I would like to peruse your wares.
Is Ori like obviously engaging in this like shady discussion with this Aarakocra on
It's not
deck?
super like shady looking. They're just kind of talking on deck. I would say you definitely notice as the captain comes around and like walks downstairs, they both straighten up in a way that like people do when they're trying not to get caught at something. They're not really trying to hide it because again, this Aarakocra really doesn't feel like he has anything to hide. But
I'm trying to hide it just in the fact that I'm being nonchalant as much as possible throughout.
yeah, I think Rogalok is kind of just like making it so obvious that
Yeah.
even with your attempts, it's not
Yeah.
super great.
Yeah.
I
But
wish you were over here.
okay, make a stealth check. They look at you and they say, "I can tell that you're from somewhere. You're from somewhere where this is not really looked upon with positive intentions. So
Right.
this is really
Where I'm
expensive."
from doesn't matter. How much expensive are we talking?
He looks at you and kind of looks you up and down. 10 gold.
I'm sorry, my friend. I do not have that kind of funding.
Well, to quote
despite-
somebody I heard one time. Sorry, friend.
Do you have anything that's not quite as potent but yet still effective?
He turns and just says, "We've got some ale."
Got plenty of that on the ship. Perhaps.
It's a 27, by the way.
With a 27, you make your way across, completely unseen by anyone. You kind of follow the captain as they like turn around the corner. You like step in their footsteps. You are their shadow. And as they round the corner, you just glue yourself to the wall and listen in.
Well, unless you have any interest in some hunting traps and potion, which you seem to be full of.
We have a few.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your time at sea.
Turns and just flies off.
How much
You
does
see
it
just
here?
alights. I would say pretty much all of it. I mean, that's a great stealth check, and yeah. You make your way back to the ship. You do as well, presumably. And before too long, you can depart, making your way towards Petrichor. Give me 1 second here. So over the remainder of this day, you do make pretty good time. The crew is motivated to get you off the ship, Minka. And so they just don't want to die. And so they make very good time.
I'm the black spot. It's fine.
What would you like to do for the remainder of this day? Or is there anything that you want to do before we proceed to the next day?
Hiding.
Okay.
I'm hiding in the cargo hold.
Make a stealth check.
Back on that
Going to
Cheshire
continue
hunt.
playing music to encourage our expeditious travel through this place.
Sure, and for what it's worth, it does help. You were told very specifically playing music is a great thing to be doing, and so as you play the tune, kind of carrying on from the epic of Minka the Merciless, Minka the Malicious, Minka the Malevolent, you really kind of get people engaged and going on the story. You are like the book on tape for this group.
9.
I'm seeking out Cheshire for that serious talk we're gonna have.
Yeah, make a perception check. For you, you're like, I know where to hide. I've hidden those barrels before. I'm going back there. You go over and you pry the lid off the barrel, and you can see the dwarf Jim is just crouching in there. And he goes, "Oh, sorry, I'm using this one."
I'm on the deck.
Oh, okay.
I still
Sorry to disturb you.
You just close it. And he goes, "No problem." You just shut him back in there. He just stays in there, very quiet.
14.
The 14, you look high and low for Cheshire. You hear the music. It's very loud, but you can't find it. It's annoying. There's times where you almost feel like you're about to run the corner, and that's where it's coming from, and you round the corner, and it's like the music just teleports across ship. It's very obnoxious. Cheshire, you just kind of like throw minor illusions around. You stay perfectly stationary, no problem. The day goes by.
Does Alina, Hannah doesn't know, but Alina would know, is praying to Cernunnos like a thing?
What I would say is there are definitely people who like say in the same way that people go like, Jesus Christ, there are people that will invoke his name in that way. But like Cernunnos is not really a god that answers prayers so much as notices deeds. And so like it's not something that's super common. You can do it.
If it's not something that people do, I don't think it would occur to her. But okay, so instead, while she sits vigil, she's not gonna eat or sleep or do anything except think about what's gonna happen if they can't resurrect Billy in Petrichor. Because she has some thoughts and she's just kind of taking time to like shuffle it all together.
Okay. So you think about what you might do. You know a little bit about Petrichor. I would say actually make a history check in terms of kind of what Alina has heard.
11.
11? It's a rainy place. You know, it's pretty wet. There's a lot of industries there designed around that. So like rain clothing, definitely easy to find there.
Raincoats.
You've heard that they don't have a ton of carts there. The road's relatively narrow. There are canals that run through the streets, and so there are like little boats that people take as well. Outside of that, you haven't heard a ton about Petrichor. You do know that there is a place there called the House of Sorrowful Rain. You've in fact heard that Dire Croak was hiding out there. And this is a place that is almost a monastic order dedicated to grief and the finding of enlightenment through that pain, which they find to be the truest. You may have even traded with somebody who's passed through there. Outside of that, and that might be a place that you could look, not a whole lot that you know.
Okie doke.
The night passes. If anybody needs to, you can mark off a long rest. As you continue forward and you wake up, as you one by one kind of find your way to the above deck, it is notably warmer as you come aboard. Almost 80 degrees, and the humidity definitely sitting on the higher end of comfortable. The water here, as you wake up, no longer the kind of tropical tones of the Emerald Expanse or the deep gray-blued cast of the Anima Mare. This is kind of like muddier water, and you would imagine you are much closer to land than you were. And after like an hour or two goes by, you begin to see on the horizon not land as if like you could see a shoreline, but mist. Just heavy mist. And I would say for many of you who have been keeping track, this is like the kind of getting into the fifth day. You are probably close to Petrichor. Is there anything that you want to do before you begin to make this approach? You can see people beginning to get up. There is food that has been cooked below, and so like fresh baked bread sounds good. This is passable. It is bread, and it has been baked today. Fresh is a strong word.
I'm probably gonna eat some of it. Gotta stay energized. Pretty much just looking for Cheshire.
No problem. Cheshire,
And trying
make
to
yourself known.
avoid Alina.
Alina has not moved from Billy's side.
So easy enough.
Yeah.
Knowing that Ori's looking for me, no. Making this as hard for him as possible.
Perfect. So, Ori, really tough. You haven't seen Cheshire, and like even the music has stopped for a little bit now, and so like you had kind of had something to go on.
She sleeps too.
The second you think that, there's just like a sound, and it's really just like the dwarf is now playing an instrument in his barrel, but you're just like, it has to be Cheshire. Anybody else?
No, we're just still hiding.
Okay.
Yeah. Just probably eating some rations instead of trying to see
Decomposing Billy.
people.
Okay.
Ouch.
No, I packed so much salt around you.
You begin to progress a little bit
like a
further
scene in
towards the
Norway.
mist, and as you do, you can see along the water now, amongst the mud, there are areas, these little tiny clear pockets, and at first it looks like bubbles, but it's actually just tiny little clear jellyfish, roughly the size of a silver piece, that can be seen amongst little bits of seaweed that now float amongst the surf. And as you do begin to approach, you can see Sade, now aboard and kind of looking out, smiles a little bit. And she says, "And I don't even need to pass through without rain." And at that moment, you can hear this like little bit of thunder. And in that mist, you can see like a crack of lightning. And it begins to rain. Give me one moment here. Okay. Took a second. So,
Is Shade in her office?
no, she's above board, and you are now kind of like approaching. As she smiles, you can see there is the kind of mist, and now the elements of like a coastline do begin to shimmer. You can see just land, and as the rain just starts to fall, there's like a mountain that's behind, and you can see like trees. There is a notably empty space. And as you get a little bit closer and the rain intensifies, the mist sets in, and there is this kind of glimmer. And as it passes by, where there was just like that mountain before, now you can see the edge of a building, you can see a roof. And suddenly in front of you, where there was nothing, there is an entire city. And Petrichor, as you can see it now kind of rising up in front of you, is a city of brownstone buildings. And there are these occasional heavily elven-inspired structures of steel and stone that consist of several tapering levels of metallic shielding. They look almost like flower petals that have closed up around towers. You can also see that there are channels, and Alina had known this, but there are channels that run along the middle of most of these narrow streets. There are gondolas that are traveling and many people that are crowded amongst them. There are bridges and footbridges that go across many of these paths. And you can also see in many places there are cobblestone streets that seem to be patterned in very peculiar ways. There are... second. There are many lanterns, and so as you get a little bit closer and you begin to feel like the kind of stone beginning to close around, and now man-made elements to this channel that seem to be drawing into what could pass as a harbor, although relatively small. There are lanterns, and as you go through the gray mist, they seem to kind of almost dance through, and there's soft little flickers of candlelight, and suddenly the boat slows and bumps, and you are at a dock. Little flickers of candles that sit on barrels and boxes. You can see there are a few lanterns that are fed by gas, burning much more steadily. But even amongst that, you can see green, blue, and purple flames, which indicate likely magical sources as well. And some of them are moving. There are other ships, but here, very difficult to see as the rain becomes quite heavy. But you have arrived in Petrichor. And as like the crew begins to like move the gangplank down and tie things off, what would you like to do?
We still have a horse.
You left the horse behind. Nobody brought the horse.
Alright, can Alina lift Billy?
Yeah, no problem. You hoist Billy up. Are you pulling her out of the salt? She's kind of like in like a hammock that has been covered, and so I would say like as you consider what to do, Jimmins and Kanor come out holding a very similar kind of a thing that's been wrapped over. So like imagine putting somebody in a hammock and then spinning them around.
Yeah.
It's very much like that.
Okay, that's what I'll do then.
No problem.
And then I'm gonna like, fireman's carry her as best as I can.
You want some help with that?
No response. She's just gonna walk past, no eye contact with anybody, off the ship. And is Sade around?
Yeah, she's just kind of there supervising everybody, getting everything set up.
It's makeshift in transit.
So she's gonna find Sade and say, "You know Petrichor, right?
Yes, I've been here a few times.
I need a cleric, the highest level one, the most skilled one I can
The
find."
highest.
I need a level 20 cleric stat.
Whoa.
You intend to bring your friend back.
Highest cleric.
Of course.
You might try the House of Sorrowful Rain, but there is not clerics in the same way that I think you expect to find them.
Are there any in the way I expect in town, in the city?
There are not churches in the way that you might think, but you might find someone. I do not know of them.
Fine. How do I get to the House of Sorrowful Rain?
She turns, and as she gestures, she points, and you see nothing. It's just like mist and rain. But she explains there are a number of different canals, each of them named, and she kind of gives you rough directions, enough that you would be able to find this place. It's a relatively small town. It's kind of vertically oriented as it does rise up along a mountain that was kind of bare before. But she tells you just past an alehouse, there's a sort of central canal. On one end of the canal, there's a huge band shell that's set underneath a bridge, and on the other end, there's a huge castle. And kind of in the middle point between those two is the House of Sorrowful Rain, which another castle that has been converted into a monastery.
So before Alina goes, she's gonna turn around and look. Is everybody still there?
You look around. You can see, in terms of your party, is everybody still there?
So while we were drifting into town, Cheshire wants to steal that orb from Minka because she's had such a hot go of it recently.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
still actively looking for
Yeah.
Cheshire.
Make a perception check, make a stealth check, and then a sleight of hand check.
I'm on like alert level 12 right now.
So this is as everybody's tying everything up. Minka, what are you doing while this is happening? This is like as everything's getting set up, you're looking for Cheshire, you are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Sensing that we've like approached the dock, she's gonna finally go up to the top. Probably observe the amount of ire that is still present, and then like go over to Sade, see Alina's there. So she's just gonna stop awkwardly on the deck and just like try not to like look, and just like
So Alina's gonna look until she gets eye contact, and she's gonna say, "Are you coming?
Yes,
You need to."
I know. I don't know where anyone else is.
That is a 25 stealth and a 26 sleight.
oh Jesus.
That is just a dirty 20 perception.
You're not really seeing much. With a sleight of hand, sorry, what was the sleight of hand?
26.
26. With a 26, no problem. And with that stealth check, you sneak down. Everybody's busy above deck, and so you have no problem getting down. You get up to the lock, and the window is broken. You take the easy route, you reach through and just unlock the lock. Prop the door open. You walk in. The first thing that you do is kind of look down at the ground, and you can see gently outlined, there is like dust along the ground, but there is like a little area that is completely undusted, and you can see it's because there's a little string that lies across. You step over that. You make your way over to the desk where you had seen this orb, and indeed it does hang over that space. However, you do note something. Well, make an Arcana check.
18?
Okay. So also on this desk, there's a number of things. You can see there's a sextant, there's like a map that depicts all of Everest. You can see there's a number of what look like ship's logs. There's a crew manifest, although interestingly, most of the names crossed out. The most recent one, Amon Red, 1481. You can see that beautiful orb that's perched up on a stand. In a very similar stand, another glass ball. Rounded, you can see it seems to be almost filled with mist, and then there's almost thunder from within, and you can see this crackle of lightning. And what was your Arcana check?
18.
An 18. You've heard of crystal balls, you've never seen one. This seems to be something similar, although with an 18, in your mind, it doesn't quite fit. This is something else. And as you hear that crackle of thunder again, and you can see it's almost like a storm inside this glass, you can't help but feel like there is something looking back out at you. Even with your stealth check, it feels like there is something watching you. And go ahead and make a religion check. Why not?
It's Cerneros.
Yay!
God of
My followers are lame. I want a better one.
19?
A 19.
Yeah, lame.
Given your sort of background, you don't have a ton of experience with like religions and kind of iconography. You've heard of several different kind of like, you've heard of Umberlee, who is like this kind of evil god of the sea. You've heard of Cord, the storm lord, who also has a lot to do with storms. You've heard, I would say probably in Everest. It doesn't rain a tremendous amount in Everest, and so not a ton of knowledge around that kind of stuff. Nothing really sinks home about this, but you really can't help but feel like it's watching. But that orb is right there. You can just take it if you want. Nothing's holding it in, not chained. As far as you can tell without taking any real look, there's no trap.
Take a real look.
Make an investigation check.
23.
And do you want to live dangerously?
Live dangerously. WWGD.
Cautious, but willing to get close.
Okay. So that's just, we'll just call that being cautious then. No problem.
Dangerously cautious.
Regular cautious.
There is a moment where as you look at this and you begin to get a little bit closer, you feel the light fade in around you and things get a little bit darker. And you remember this happened when you had seen Ori's staff, but deciding to take a little bit of a safer approach, you feel your vision clear. You already made your choice. And Cheshire, this feeling, this kind of fast beat in your heart, you felt it before. And you imagine it's not the last time you'll feel it either. But you don't see any of those ribbons. You don't see any of these strings or strands that you had seen before. You do feel, again, there is something about this orb that is unsettling. But as far as you can tell, there's nothing that's going to blow up or like trip when you pull this away. At worst, if you're really clumsy, you might knock the stand over, but that seems to be the worst thing. In the distance, you do hear thunder, not just out of that orb, but nothing else seems to happen. For everybody else on deck, there is thunder, just like there always has been, but you see Sade look up. And she looks a little nervous. But she directs you to this House of Sorrowful Rain. You can add a... what this thing's called.
Are you up on deck, like near us?
Scary
near
stormy
to
orb.
us?
I was gonna say, I think I probably would have like departed, but then basically stood at the top of the deck waiting, because like Cheshire's gotta exit the ship, right? Like,
How would you see?
I would wait at the top of the gangplank and just be like, all right, she might try to be invisible, but if I'm looking real hard and
Eye
listening,
for detail.
I can
ear
maybe
for
hear some like weird footsteps or something. And also keeping in mind, if I hear something somewhere, I should look somewhere else because it's probably an illusion.
So at this point, you're like, but they would know that I know that they would. And so I'm going to turn left, which is what they would think. Exactly.
But basically just standing like blocking the gangplank like fucking doorman at a bar.
No problem.
No, because you're over here.
I would have done my best to time it so like appearing as they're all exiting and looking around to see if we're all present.
Yeah, one final time. Let's play this game. Make a stealth check, make a perception check. And after you do that, you can add a Zinni Zishi orb to your inventory.
How the fuck do you get by me every time?
I don't even need to say what I got. It's just bad.
24.
Yeah, you beat me like 6
You wait for a while, you wait. Minka, you leave. Only you take your cargo and you leave.
As I'm leaving, I say to Ori, "Are you coming to help fix your mistakes or not?" And then she just stops up. Don't care.
There's a moment, Ori, where you are the only one left. You, Sade, and you can actually see the dwarf is like tying things off as well.
After hearing something from Alina for the first time, I'd be like, I'll get you, and then go after.
Sade turns and just kind of says, "For what is this worth? I am sorry about your friend."
Likewise to your crewmate, and all the other unhappiness that may have befallen you on our journey.
She kind of nods.
Perhaps we'll cross paths again. Excuse me, gotta catch up to them.
She kind of nods and you make your way off.
As Minka passes Sade, she's gonna hand over a bangle. It's 2 tones and has like ornate filigree around it, but it looks like florals, but if you look at it, it's actually eyes and stars. And she goes, "I'm so sorry." And then she just goes down to go stand next to Alina, but far enough away where it's not like directly next to her, but be like, "I am ready," but I'm trying not to encroach.
On the grid. We're talking like... Oop.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like,
I am next to you, but 5 feet away.
At this point, if Minka were to get lost, I don't think Alina would care, so she's not keeping tabs on her.
Catch it
Fair
up.
enough. You're busy. You know, you're in this new town. There's a lot on your mind. As you begin to walk, though, there is this kind of unusual sensation. Part of it is, you know, you're walking carrying your dead friend. Make a perception check.
Yikes. Not very perceptive. 6.
A 6. Okay. In the mist, you feel like there are probably like animals and things like that that are like moving around. You actually see at one point the mist and a cat just like jumps up on this little cart and you hear like the and then jumps off. There are people who are passing here and there. Many people you would note wearing like glasses. There are a few people with like these big rain hats and these big like thick, they look like almost waxed furs that shed water very well. But you can see like people passing. And as you're walking and following the directions, there is this moment where you feel as if somebody tries to pull something out of this container that you are carrying, maybe unaware of what the cargo is. But you feel this like pressure and then away. And you like the mist kind of swirls. There are people passing you. Is there anything that you're doing?
Can I look
Do we
around?
notice this walking behind her?
I would say no. It's really more that you feel this like bump. It's the same way that you know how sometimes when you see the movies and like somebody's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and they like
It's
reach
like,
into
oh,
your
they
wallet.
pickpocketed.
It's like you feel this kind of jostle.
Do I see anyone like suspicious around me?
Make another perception check.
We're behind, just going.
Another 6.
Another 6.
Yeah.
No, but then
Nice.
almost immediately, boom! Somebody bumps it again, and you turn, and you can see Ori is there. Minka is far back, but like your perception almost pulls her forward, and you're like, "Was it Minka?" But you can almost swear it's like somebody is trying to tug.
I guess I'll just try and hold it tighter and keep moving forward. I mean, in my mind, all of Billy's possessions are safely inside my ring, so I'm not so much worried about like someone's trying to steal something. So as long as I can just hold on to her like real tight,
Yeah.
I guess I'm just gonna keep moving. Unless this means something to me.
I'm trying to catch up to Alina
Okay.
now that she has spoken words.
No problem.
Indicating that perhaps she has softened her angry demeanor.
Or I guess my
And
question,
single-minded
Joey, so this
focus.
sensation that I have, does Alina have any reason to be suspicious of it?
I would say, yeah. I mean, you can feel it's almost like this body is now twitching again after it's been sitting dead. For
She
like a day
was
and a half.
breathing.
And then you remember Ori had said that he was not quite sure. You saw the eyes open, the water pooling in them, but there's a brief moment where like horrified. You remember like everything that you've been through at this point. It's like you remember the skin floating through the water, and Yeah, there's a moment where you're not really sure.
Okay, so if I'm having that moment, immediately body down on the ground, opening it up to see the face.
They emerge assault into the street. Because it is 8:30.
I told you she was still breathing.
So thank you for hanging out with us for this so far. Sorry, couldn't quite get you on the ship. But it is 8:26. We're going to be back at 8:36. And we'll figure out why this is happening, perhaps.
Yeah.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Courts of Everest. We left off with Billy bursting back to life on the rainy streets of Petrichor. Give me 1 second, actually, and I'll pull up some rain.
Maybe the rest of our party.
I can hear them.
But Matt's the timekeeper.
Yeah.
Oh!
Y'all are late!
Welcome back.
We got angry about Bernal.
Welcome back. So, when we left off, Billy burst to life from outside of this hammock full of salt on the streets of Petrichor. There are people who are passing you, and so, like, definitely there's a brief commotion. People shout out as you unload a hammock full of Billy onto the street. Billy gasping for breath. You can see still pale skin, but slowly that kind of purple, green kind of cast returning. And Billy is there.
I'm imagining. Billy, you're alive! You weren't before.
Why are my eyes salty?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna start trying to.
Told you.
Oh my god, what?
You begin to unwrap Billy.
Billy starts like frantically digging in the salt and like digging.
Here. I got
Did you down?
I've got all your
Oh,
stuff.
there was so much happening.
Billy.
And then Billy died. And then Billy. Oh my god.
First of all, you hear Minka having a panic attack. And second of all, you feel the cuff as it goes onto your ear. It's almost like it sits there, but it's almost like it doesn't quite fit right. And as you like fiddle with it and you try to get it to sit the right way, you look up and through the mist as people kind of like are looking at you and now beginning to get back to their business. You see there was like a tall dragonborn, green scales, who like looks a little bit, his mouth open. You can see like the big dragonborn teeth, and then he just shuts his mouth and keeps walking. You could hear a kid who just goes, "Mommy, I want to do the ride," and like she's like, "No, not right now." But through all that, you can see as the mist kind of swirls around, sitting in the middle of the street about 20 feet away, there is a black dog. And this dog is seated in just the way that you might ask a dog to sit down, perfectly still. People walk by it, but as they do, it's almost like they don't see it. They move around it, nobody touches it. But it's like everybody just passes and averts their path. And this dog is looking straight at you. It looks through the mist, and as it does, it's almost like you get pulled closer, and you've seen the eyes on this dog before, and you remember. Come on. The dog gets up, turns around, and just walks off into the crowd.
Ori, I told you if you hit me in the back one more time, I will
that time.
you.
I saw. It was not me.
I'm so sorry.
It was
Why are you
an
sorry?
accident.
Why are you sorry?
Billy? Most important thing right now is that
You're
you're
back.
alive.
I said that you were still breathing, for the record. So
Why'd
You
you
were all the way dead.
me in salt?
that was Alina.
Take out my water skin and just try and
Well, it's raining.
It's like you kind of
right, yeah.
just a straight like chunk of salt that comes out of your nose. Yeah, not great.
I saw you. You were dead.
Still breathing.
Why would you
just
wrap
a
around
very
in
little
salt?
bit.
Someone on the ship told me it would.
I told you that she was probably still breathing.
I checked myself.
Yeah, well, he was right.
Really?
She kind of like takes out the wreath.
You see this like it looks like almost like wreaths, but the texture is exactly like ship driftwood. It's a very odd kind of creation.
Here you go, Splinter.
You should like look at like the star map and be like, what the?
So
Make a Arcana or Religion or History check, your choice, and
I'm so
depending
good.
on the nature, yeah, it'll be different.
Did you?
Did I what?
she stole it. Yeah.
9.
She stole a lot of things.
Do you
It's a
speak
trait.
Zinni?
No.
So
It's a bad habit.
I have all your gear safe in my vessel.
And that's what we were supposed to
Thanks.
talk about.
Talk about what?
I can't have like.
Minka, as you regard this orb in the dark, in the rain, in a language that you don't speak, in a script so small that at first it looks almost like this is fogged glass, but the character is so small that it just lends it almost a frosted appearance. You don't really make a lot out of it, but it's a glass orb.
Minka wanted it.
Yeah, Sade also wanted it.
You can't be doing things constantly.
Like what?
Like stealing and having no concern for the consequences of your actions.
Consequences of my actions? What
You
have
put
I
me through.
done?
I don't. You
Alina's
put
just hugging
Minka
Billy.
through a
Just
lot
snuggled
of
up.
emotional
Yeah, no problem.
turmoil.
You can
That was
feel the warmth
unnecessary.
returning. She's still a little
And you
chilly,
stole my
but
flute.
The warmth returns.
I
Chillier
did
than
not.
normal.
Yeah, but the
Stole my
warmth is
flute.
returning.
And that dwarf threw it over the edge.
You did? Man,
You can't
bitch.
please.
How did you get hold of it anyway?
Because
You really should hold on to your things better.
At some point in your life, you know what? At some point in your life, your actions are going to have negative consequences for you, and I will not be there to assist.
You say so. Hasn't happened yet.
At this point, a little halfling like totters out of the mist. You're standing at this moment in front of like a number of barrels that are, and actually in most of these brownstone buildings, there are gutters here that kind of feed down into these barrels, which seem to be collecting rainwater. And several of them are stacked up against this house. This halfling comes up, and you can see he has like a sheaf of paper in his hand, and he kind of gestures and just goes, would you mind, friend? I'm just trying to get by you there.
Oh, sorry.
Goes up, and you can see, takes this piece of paper, sticks it up, and there's boom, 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 just nails it into the barrel, and just continues its way down.
Is there anything in his pockets?
Make a perception, or make an investigation or perception check, depending on how invasive you want to get.
What did he just post on there?
I mean, he's like going, so you can turn and see.
Yeah. Is it just like a barrel tag?
Yeah, you know those barrel tags.
Why is he posting something on the side of a barrel?
In common, this reads, the Eulogy Tournament of Lord Artasis. This is the ink runs a little bit fresh, wet, but this is a poster, and it sort of talks about in roughly a month, the 10th of High Sun, in fact, there is a tournament that will be going on for somebody who has passed in town recently, Lord Artasis, a notable bard. The prize for this Battle of the Bards is a choice amongst his prized instrument collection. Itself housed at the Petrichor Performers Association Castle at the very end of this huge canal.
That was a 21 investigation.
21 investigation. He has a bunch of nails. You can see within his pocket, there's like a tiny little, like, not to call it even like a coin pouch is generous. He has like a scrap of cloth that he wrapped around his lunch money today. A couple pieces of copper. That's all he really has on him. Yeah.
I will pocket that flyer.
Okay.
Did you say that the tournament was happening next month?
It's the 10th of High Sun, so yeah, roughly a month away.
Okay, I know you're gonna say no, but mechanics question.
Sure.
Normally I can only go into the ring once a day.
Yeah.
Can I go in again to get Billy's stuff out?
We'll say that you put Billy's stuff in the first day, and so this is a day where you have not gone in yet.
Yay!
No problem.
Okay, so once Billy's out of the thing, I'm gonna be like, hold on. I'm gonna give her the ring to hold. Bamf, gather up all the stuff, bamf out, and then just kind of like proudly display it.
Billy, like,
I knew you'd be back, Billy.
I did.
Thanks,
Oh,
Elena.
For the record,
Stuff.
still breathing.
Kind of mean.
She gave it back,
That
though.
is true. She did give it back.
And Billy shakes her sword.
No problem. All of you now stand on this large central street. Just to your left, there's a huge canal. A gondola goes by. You can see it's kind of loaded with people who seem like they're bound for maybe some kind of work. All of them dressed up and huddled in these jackets. But what would you like to do?
So, is this like a stop off on the way to Petrichor, or?
In Petrichor. Alina's gonna pull Billy off to the side and be like, Billy, do we still travel with these idiots?
Glad you're back.
I mean, we kind of need them for Hearsom's thing.
I guess you're right. Don't ever go into a fight with them and not me again.
Heard that.
So it worked out pretty well for you in the end, see? You just put positive thoughts.
Alina's gonna regard Minka and be like, do you want to make it up to me?
Yes.
Do you have any spells that can help me see in the dark?
Yes. Yeah, I can do that. Okay. That's easy.
Alright, see? Simple as that. We're all back together. We're in Petrichor. And, we gotta go find, the Styrecroak, huh?
Oh, right. That was
What time is it? Sorry.
At this point, it is probably getting close to noon.
Maybe we should form a plan. Let's let Billy get reacquainted.
We have to do it in the
Acquainted
rain.
with what?
Minka's gonna take the notice
She's
needle
breathing the whole
off
time.
the barrel,
Yeah.
fold up and tuck it into her most weatherproof pocket, which may or may not exist.
Which was this in the barrel?
She's gonna take the notice off of the.
Or he has it.
Sometimes you
Or
just
is
need
it-
a good night's
I missed
rest.
that.
Yeah, sorry.
Dang
She
it.
took a big hit, as one does in our profession, and, slept it off.
In the rain.
Alina's just gonna like more bear hugs and maybe just like cling a little
I
bit.
don't know if
like,
there's
as
any
they're
place that's
walking.
not raining.
I want to be dry and
Probably
with
at
a
least indoors
beer.
would be not raining. One might hope.
What's around in the street?
Sure. So as you are walking, you can see at the very end, there's this huge castle that you're approaching, the House of Sorrowful Rain. Off to your left, actually, I believe one of you had heard about this. You can see a sign that reads Airdrie's Ale House. And you can see more than many of the other buildings. There are tons of these rain barrels gathering water, although they seem to be filtering through individual bottles, each in which has bits of moss, other ingredients, crushed stone, seeming to filter it in various ways, although some of these things certainly magical. And so this ale house, using the Feywild water that is currently raining down around you to brew ale. You can also see off to the right there is a huge watchtower that at one point probably overlooked the bay, but now all over it you can see almost seagull-like birds, dark black-blue plumage instead of like the kind of white-gray that you would normally see, but they circle around, and all around this tower there's just bird droppings that coat the cobblestone grounds. And that's what you see like in the immediate vicinity, some more brownstone buildings that are probably residences. And then further, there's some like more shops as you continue down.
Thank God, an ale house.
Alina's going to fish Billy's money out of
Very specifically, not an alehouse. This is a brewery. This is a huge, like a probably not a commercial space, but yeah.
Alina's gonna fish Billy's
do
money
sit
out of
here.
her purse and
We
give it
can
to
get
her.
out of the rain.
And just point and go, you've earned it.
I think I've earned everyone.
I'm so wet.
Cheshire, no one is stopping you. Go on. And then I'm gonna like, I don't know, like grab Billy's arm and be like, let's get some ale.
Ale it is. I'm still kind of salty. There's like crust forming
Yeah,
around.
oh,
like,
absolutely.
Is the
Yeah.
rain helping?
a little bit, but it kind of just like it's
Almost
gonna solidify again.
stalactites. Yeah.
Alina's doing like the mom thing with the sleeve and like wiping.
Okay.
Yeah. No problem. You get like a little bit cleared away. Billy like fends you off, and so it's almost like this like salty part that goes down to right about where you can reach. But no problem. Yeah, if you want, you can approach. This isn't again an ale, like a ale house proper. That is the name of the brewery. This is an ale house in the same way that like that is the name of the brewery. And so there is a delivery window, and you can see like a long counter with a number of kegs behind. You watch as like a cart with two horses pulling it like travels off, and there is seated up on a full-size stool, standing to meet the top part. You've seen quite a number of them at this point. A grung. This one green. You can see he has full-length rubber gloves. He is just kind of sitting there, leaning over, like looking around. He waves as the horses pull kegs away. He turns, he kind of looks at you guys, and then just keeps looking for, you know, whoever he is looking for next.
Alina's gonna approach and be like, ale for all of us. mostly for her. And then she's like so excited and so revved up that she's gonna like shoot off her ring of pyrotechnics into the air.
Sure.
Pew, 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 pew. Fireworks everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. I actually have fireworks, but every time I try to load them up, they don't show up for some reason.
It's like my playlist.
Yes,
Yeah, but your playlist loaded up finally.
Just like 3 months later.
Yeah. No worries. So, this grung turns and just kind of nods and says, well, we are an alehouse, so what is it that you want specifically? Who do you represent?
Since you asked, we're on business here, but right now we've just come into town, and what's our group called?
All right, did Tavern Keeper send you, or who are you picking up for?
Oh no, we're drinking.
Oh, well,
Picking up a crate for the market down the way.
I mean, we could just sell you beer. You don't have to make things up.
Oh, okay. Take some beers then. But we were just
It's just mostly people have orders waiting, and so what do you like? You like brown?
varietals.
A big
Variety.
keg of your strongest stout.
Yeah, you seem pretty serious. I'm gonna do the big keg of the strongest stout. He hops down from the barrel. You hear like the little flap, flap, flap as his feet like pat the ground, and he goes over, and you hear as he like hauls out this keg, and there's a boom as he gets it on a cart. You hear wheels over the ground as he wheels it back around. He climbs back up on the table, and he just goes, "All right, so there'll be 2 gold pieces."
I pay. Actually, no. I start to pay, and then I go.
Minka pays.
Tucks it away. Can somebody come around and get this? It's a lot. I can bring it out, but it's a lot. Thanks. Pops back down, walks around, opens the
I
door.
really feel a stout. It's too heavy. Got anything lighter?
Don't listen.
Climbs up to the stool and just goes, oh yeah, no, we have all kinds of ales.
Something light, fruity, springy.
Sour.
Oh, we got the spring cloak. Oh God, language is hard. We have a spring court IPA that just came in. It's a little bit more expensive, but this is something. She turns and looks at you and says, "What? It's Iridian Pale Ale."
I was about to say
Turns back to you and just goes, "It's just in. It's from the Feywild, and we imported some of the water special, so it does make you float a little bit sometimes. But again, really expensive, and we only have growlers of it, so."
Well,
How
what are we
much for
talking
one of
for?
those?
We're talking, it's 2 gold pieces, but that's for like a drink versus a
Why
whole
does
keg.
it make you float?
He turns to you and says,
It's
"What was
worth
that?"
it.
No, there seems to be a theme of stuff from the Feywild making you float.
It happens a lot. Makes you float, makes you sink, makes you grow, makes you shrink. It's just kind of what happens here.
I'll take a growler.
Alina nods knowingly. Like,
Yeah. Hops down, runs around over there. He comes back with like a huge, it's
Get
like
your own, Tubby.
It's like a brown glass bottle. It is like the size of a vase that you might hold flowers in, with a cork and the little metal thing that holds it on. And he like gets back up on the thing and he passes it over to you, holds out his little rubber glove, takes the gold. You can add a Spring Court IPA, Iridian Pale Ale, to your inventory.
while we're kind of like farting around, I'm gonna ask him, where's a good place to stay for the night in town?
There's not a whole lot of places to stay for the night if you don't live here, but you can go to the Drizzled Out. If you're a bard, you can stay at the Petrichor Performer Association. They have dormitories set up for people that are performers over there. And that's kind of it, friends.
Oh, it's good. We've got bards.
Are you visiting somebody in town?
We're here on
Official business.
Oh,
We
You don't have to.
the
We're here looking for someone.
okay.
sorrowful rain. We're visiting the monastery.
He's a drone,
I'm
right?
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna lean in conspiratorially and be
He
like,
cleans out a little bit.
we're looking for actually one of your kind, dire croak.
Oh, I thought you meant a brewer. You're talking about a grung.
Not every grumble knows
Yep.
every other grumble.
Alina is a well-established racist.
Yeah.
by the way.
He turns and just kind of points at Ori and goes, no, kind of like what he's saying. Yeah, I don't know all grugs. There's a lot of us in town because it's so wet.
Okay, but have you heard of dire croak? He's red, I think.
No. I have a friend, Larry.
So about this crate, why don't Come, why don't you show me what?
It hops off and goes around to the door.
I'm like,
Shows you back around.
It's a grung! We're looking for a grung.
there are so many things wrong with what you're saying.
He goes around, and as you come over,
sensitivity training.
the grung just says, "Hey, if you guys are looking for grung, that's totally fine. I would maybe not ask like that." And also,
I'm saying.
a lot of the grung they stick together, and so maybe don't go around.
That's also
asking like
what
that.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a friend back,
A ways, and you know.
Is Ori playing the I'm friends with a grung card?
I'm problematic. At least my
The grung doesn't even register that you're talking about another grung. He just goes, "Great, I'm glad you have friends," but just try to play a lower profile around.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's my lead in to trying to get him to join.
The Yuffle cult. Yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta back off.
He lets you.
This is a
bring
grung
this
of
back.
business. So
He pops back up into his stool.
bring the crate over.
You guys need anything else?
You wouldn't. Is there like an apothecary or somewhere to buy
guess it's a
local herbs
keg.
here?
I think maybe Blue and Barrel has a couple of things like that, but if you, honestly, it's kind of tchotchkes, and
Okay.
tourists come in and they buy the stuff, and I guess it looks nice, but I don't think it really works.
We should probably see if we can find some diamonds to buy.
Yes. Yeah, that too.
Well,
If only. Well, it's nothing.
wait, that sounded like something. What was that?
Someone
Just
it's. I'm a big fan of different gems. I'm a jeweler. So just different places to find gems and stuff.
Well, we don't have a ton of like mines and caves and things like that, and also Petrichor kind of travels around, and so
Yeah.
it's difficult for people to really create something like that. But I know that the Stormlord's Capsaicin Club, their trophy has a whole bunch of different gems on it, and so we might be able to ask them. And again, Blue and Barrel, but anything they have there is going to be way overpriced.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, thank you for the ale. And I'm sorry, we didn't catch your name.
Oh, my name's Gary.
Gary, nice to meet you.
The other thing that you could try, you guys seem like you're probably, I know your friend said you're here on business, but you guys don't really seem like you're here like for farming or something. So if you're pretty good in a fight, beneath here, there's a series of caves and things like that, and all kinds of things fall down there.
Oh, spelunking.
I don't know what that is.
Cave exploring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You could do that. I would be very careful. I mean, they're prone to collapsing, and there's running water that goes through on account kind of the rain.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
These are my performers. We're here in town to perform.
Oh, you're like a month early for the big tournament, but
And I get to practice it and spread the word. People gotta know my name.
yeah, so you're going to the Petrichor Performers Association, huh?
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, if you're doing some kind of an event and you do need to cater said event, please keep Ariadne's Ale House in mind.
Of course.
Well, thank you very much for the keg and for the conversation.
Yeah,
Have a wonderful afternoon.
you as well. And he just kind of like leans there. He waves at you guys as he leaves.
How
It's Gary and Larry, the grooms.
Oh yeah, so we
I'm
just have like a
rolling
big
it.
keg.
Yeah, like literally like 144 drink keg.
Yeah, I'm rolling it down
Okay,
the
no
street.
problem. Best way to transport alcohol that foams and fizzes is by rolling it.
It's like in a cave. You know, what else?
I
am
think
gonna
I was. I mean,
Don't have
do
a
you wanna-
horse.
Do you want to drink now?
Yeah, like
Surely we
tap
have
that
cups
shit.
enough.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We
absolutely.
have-
Yeah, especially.
What are the laws of public drinking?
You have not seen anybody like open carrying in here, but also you just got here and it's misty. You haven't seen any like law keeping forces, and so like you don't know. You put the big metal straw into the keg and you start drinking like
Billy
a big
just, like,
Capri Sun.
Taps the bunghole.
taps the bunghole with her dagger just so I can free flow out.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're ready.
And there's just a spray as this is well shaken, but you slowly let it die down and you can drink. It is a great. You said you got a stout.
The strongest.
Yeah. So the summer stout, this is something that as you drink it, it's heavy, but not in a way that sits unpleasantly in your stomach. This is something that is just rich and nutty and really, more than anything else, it's almost like eating bread in a very, very comforting way. And as you are like freshly undead, this is a
Not dead.
re-alived. Now that you are freshly re-living,
Back up to an
like that.
acceptable beat per minute.
it is probably the breast. God, I'm having trouble today. I've done so many trainings
There's
this week.
things abreast.
Oh my gosh, I trained like 500 people about men's health. Oh, it was rough. This is probably the best ale that you've had. You can actually taste something other than salt, and so it's quite nice.
Can I ask, how sure was Alina that Billy was all the way dead, like when she looked at her and before she like wrapped her up?
Seeing as how you held vigil for 2 days after wrapping her up, taking all of her most prized belongings and keeping them safe, really fucking
Really
sure.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much so, like in the first day, multiple times, as unfortunately Billy's body does twitch and spasm, you would check, like hoping, and like every time a little bit less, and just knowing that it's probably not true. And so there is something about this that, as happy as you are that Billy is alive, it's a little weird.
Okay. So I'm not buying Ori's thought that she was just alive this whole time.
Even if you thought that Ori was probably right, you imagine it would be difficult for you to acknowledge that. So there's part of you that does wonder, like, is it just that Ori's a huge piece of shit, or was he actually wrong? And it's hard to tell in your kind of conflicted state which is which.
So while we're drinking, I'm just gonna be like, Billy, you were all the way dead. How are you here?
I don't feel like I was all the way dead.
Do you think it
Straight from the horse's mouth.
This is a private conversation?
I really killed her.
I mean,
I've seen a lot of precedent for that.
Sir Nunos did say that by joining with him, I'd be able to get more power, so...
I know, but what about... And then, like, this is, like, really as private as she can make it. What about your aunties?
Why would they want me alive?
Okay. Do you feel okay? Like normal?
I feel very salty
Yeah, okay.
about many things. But that's fairly standard.
Should we find a place to rest? Clean up?
I love a bath. I don't say that often. I would love a bath.
Getting rained on is not the same as a bath.
Oh, what? Oh, sorry. I
It
was,
really isn't.
The salt is just kind of like re-hardening on my skin, and
Let's go find a place to...
I'd like to use
So,
some Talos soap.
we could
or
go to
something.
the inn, or well, we may have had a better opportunity to do this if I had my flute. But I think we
You
could
can
probably
sing.
strum something together. Yeah,
You shouldn't lose it if you need it.
I've already said what I need to say. I'm going to ignore you for the moment.
If Elena didn't think that Cheshire was responsible for the lost flute, she does now.
I think probably Alina, even through like the sorrow in the morning, had a good sense that probably Cheshire was involved at least tangentially.
All right, well, should we go to the Performers Guild or just the inn? Billy, what do you want to do?
Look at the Performers Guild.
The Performers Guild might be better.
Cheaper if we can get in.
Is it for each like actual performer?
It's probably we could go as a band.
Well,
I'm something.
you
I
and
don't
I
know
can
myself.
probably craft
Like digs out her little
something.
hand drum,
There's-
which I have had this whole time.
Oh yeah.
A little like hand drum riff for you.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
in
traveling
like, the hippie
performers
folk
need
song,
stagehands.
Band, you're just the one who's got the tambourine.
Yeah.
Or the
Actually
triangle.
feels about right for Minka, yeah.
And we need someone to.
Circus.
We have costume design. We've got directors. You know,
I think
making sure we're in our
overthinking
places.
it a bit.
We've got porters.
We can discuss the final details of this when we get inside. Yeah. Because now,
Now
I'm
you wanna get out of
well, now that I've
you
been
wanna
out
get
here
out of
for
the
long enough, I am starting to feel it. Is that all right with you?
No, it's not.
Well, then, too bad.
This is a weird thing to fight about. Do we know where the guild is?
Yeah, so you know this is the opposite direction from the House of Sorrowful Rant. So you need to kind of about face, go back down the canal. You would pass by the places that you have not quite been yet, so Blue and Barrel. You would pass by currently closed, the Stormlord's Capsaicin Club. You would see the drizzled out, this long kind of, there's a porch and you can see there's actually a couple grung up there who are like drinking. There's a few like rooms there you would presume, but the bottom part entirely a bar.
Ooh, I can debut my new epic.
And then past all that, if you continue walking, just a little bit past Lungard's Pass, there is a huge castle. This castle is pretty grand. It sits almost dead center of town. And on the other end of this kind of central canal, you can see across through the mist, underneath the bridge, this huge like hat shell. And almost floating in the canal, there is like a performance area. But that's all the way on the other side of the canal. This castle that you can see has a number of statues outside of it, one of whom is a very handsome elvish figure. The other is kind of faded with age. The rain maybe wearing the statue a little bit worse on the northern face. All right. So as you approach, there is a drawbridge that is currently down. There is no like proper moat, but the canal seems to feed into what becomes almost like a reservoir around this building and some of the surrounding street. You can walk in without any issue. There are lanterns that are fed by gas that light the way, suspended about 18 feet above you. And so very, very dull light before you enter in underneath this kind of almost like a walkway. There are no people walking on it, but underneath there's like a gatehouse and then a courtyard that is all cobblestone. At the moment, as it is pouring rain, empty, save for this little fountain that is not running with water but full. There are doors that are open, and beyond you can see candlelight, you can see books, you can see tables, and you hear very faintly violin music. At this time, getting close to like 6 or 7 at night, and it is, for what it's worth, I believe Monday.
11th of summertide.
Might be the 12th. Oh, the town crier is here.
No, it is the 11th, and so that would make it Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 11th of summertide.
People are passing here and there. It is pretty quiet. This is not like a party town. Then there's a lot of people who are, there's a lot of people who are kind of like quietly going about, returning home from wherever they were for the day. But as you make your way over, you can make your way into the castle if you wish.
Cape Cod in the off season.
There is definitely this vibe that does feel like that. It's warm. This is like summer still, but it's like if you went to Cape Cod in the off season in the summer. And so, as nice and pleasant as it is quiet. But as you enter in out of the rain,
Falls day. Cape Cod.
That sounds bad.
a fall day in Cape Cod.
So Cape Cod is miserable when it's
It's
the off season.
Yeah, winter in Cape Cod is not great.
If, when we walk in, there is a large enough space, I would like to perform the epic of Minka the Malicious, complete with illusions, and cast all of my performers.
Okay.
Well,
So,
Alina's still mad at Minka, but she's starting to soften because of this.
while this is happening, I am trying to steal that alcohol from you.
okay. Make a sleight of hand check.
Billy
I'm
is
waiting
trying
for the
to, we're at
opportune
the
moment
okay.
during the
performance
performance.
We'll get
Just
there.
like
You begin to perform. as soon as you walk
back up.
Okay. You begin to perform as soon as you walk in. You can see there is a pretty demure looking elf who is sitting behind this very long, I can't remember what the word is, but it's like gold leaf has been kind of pressed into the wood in these
The dais?
No. So it's like the bar, the counter of this bar itself. There's gold leaf that has been pressed in, and at first it looks kind of random, but as soon as you get up to like the very front, the gold all shifts and becomes in common Petrichor Performers Association across the counter. This very demure looking elf kind of turns. They have this very like worked blonde hair that comes in like a little like tidal wave over. They have this crushed blue velvet jacket, very, very fine, double-tailed. They have their hands clasped, and as they start to like welcome you, boom, this like bard performance begins. You begin to play, little illusions happen. Make a performance check.
Since Billy's playing backup, does Cheshire get to roll with advantage?
Yeah, go ahead and roll for advantage.
Nice.
Since Cheshire is distracted, do I get to roll for advantage?
We'll get there in a second.
Can't math 23.
23. So you begin to play. And as you're coming out of the rain and you're playing this, you're playing the Minka epic, phenomenal. You set it to a little bit more of a somber tone, matching your environment and kind of pulling in the dark elements of the space. There are a few people who are here kind of going about. You can see holding sheet music and like large cases, and they stop and people begin to kind of pay attention, although not as many as you're used to. There are a few people who kind of nod and just kind of roll their eyes and begin to walk off. And you can hear there are other instruments taking place. This is a performer's this is a bard's college in the Feywild, and so this is a place where there are tremendous performances that happen. This is a nice little warm-up act that's happening in the lobby. The person who is watching this kind of like nods and just gives you a polite bow and just says, "Very good. Welcome to the Petrichor Performers Association. Can I help you?"
That was but one chapter of the newest saga I have titled Kill Billy.
Well, it was a saga. Again, is there something that I can help you with?
We are hoping for lodgings.
Are you performers of some kind?
I mean, and I pull out my hand drum again. I'm like,
Well, that's quite nice. Anybody can buy an instrument, however. Do you have your performer's badge? Have you paid dues?
Oh, like guild members.
Yes, this is the Petrichors, performers, and the almost operative word here is association.
Well, listen, I didn't want to pull this card, but we're here on Harrison's business. I'm gonna flash a little badge.
He's like, oh. Very well. Just one moment. And he turns and kind of walks off, and you can see he unlocks this little, like, it's just full of keys. Key box goes in, and you can see he, like, goes down. There's, like, a key laying on the bottom, picks that one up, and walks over and just says, "And I'm sure you can find your room." And just kind of drops it on the desk. You won't be paying, I'm sure.
What's the rate?
Well, guild membership is 150 gold a year, but you're here on official business, and so, much like the last group, I'm imagining you are not going to pay, and probably cause lasting damage.
Ideally not.
Oh, that doesn't sound like
was sent by
us.
Harrison?
Yes.
How long ago was that?
Perhaps a year.
Oh.
Do you not talk to your employer? I'm sorry, I'm in a bad mood.
relatively new relationship. I understand.
Alina's gonna
It's been
fish
a long
out some
week for
gold
us as well.
and be like, for your trouble. She's gonna fish out 5 gold pieces.
Okay. Thank you.
Stacks.
So this other group, Harrison is well, he plays it close to the chest. You probably know.
Yes.
Tell us about this other group.
Not much to tell, really. A group looking for something out in the expanse. Unpleasant. Loud.
Caused a bit of damage to your...
A bit, yes. You'll see. That was their room.
Well, For what it's worth, I do apologize. I do not have much money, but I will give you all that I have. It is nowhere near 150.
It's quite fine. You probably need it more than we do, and I've already received a tip from your polite friend.
I'm a polite friend.
We can, if it's wood, I can see what I can do.
One of the beds.
Do our best. It's wood.
If you need anything, the market is usually open across the street.
Thank you. I do have one random question. That is our first time in Petrichor. What happens when it stops raining?
It doesn't.
Here.
Correct.
But where we were, if it stops raining.
Well, the borders will move to the next best location. I hope you don't intend to go back the way you came.
We had not intended that.
Well, it's more just, is there any way to get an idea of where the next stop is?
Stop. This is not a cart ride. This is the Feywild. And so when you move through the borders of this place, it depends on where it's raining.
Okay.
There are a few who seem to be able to predict where this is. Best of luck in finding them.
Okay.
Would Alina know much about where, like, the different points are? Like, not necessarily when they're gonna show up, but, like, it's Feywild bullshit. Does she have any
It is
sense?
Feywild bullshit, but this is truly, wherever it's raining, the edges can appear. There are places in the material plane that Petrichor appears. Everest is one of them. You've heard of a place in Mythalstream that it appears. The other places within the Feywild, vastly more varied, and depending on the power of the courts and how they're kind of working, it may even look or be different when you appear there in the same place.
I gotcha.
So it's hard to tell. Yeah, there are caves. Now, for what it's worth, if there are caves here, and this truly is the Feywild.
You said chaos.
Oh. Right.
But there are caves here.
Some caves. Tell us about those caves.
I'll steal that info.
I do want to
I told you.
spelunk.
A little spelunking trip.
But no
Oh,
problem.
it's stuck here.
Well, I suppose we will find our room. We didn't get your name,
Yes.
and you are not going to provide it. That is fair. Understandable.
Well, they had.
Hopefully we will be better guests than your previous occupants of this
We're
room.
sure to be better guests.
I would
Can
not
I
be so
like?
sure.
Can I like use some like performance ability to try to get him to warm up to me so I can learn more about this other group?
Make an insight check.
Cool.
Oh no.
Mm.
So, 19.
You like, try to figure out some route in with this guy because he does seem a little standoffish. He's warmed up to you slightly with this 5 gold, but for such an amount of money, not a tremendous amount. And as you look around, there's gold pressed into the wood here, and you can see like these huge dome ceilings, and he's wearing like a velvet jacket that is nicer than even your fineries. And this is just kind of like what he's wearing on Tuesday. You imagine gold is not really the route that's going to get you there, and then you watch, and Ori goes, "We never really got your name," and he goes, "Yes," and you're like, "Oh, hating on Ori might work."
All right, I'm gonna lean in again, like conspiratorially. I guess this is kind of Alina's move.
He leans in a little bit as well.
Yeah, and she's gonna be like, "My friend there, is sort of an idiot. But you know, I'll keep an eye on him. Don't worry, he won't destroy anything on my watch."
All I'll say is, as long as you do not set your room on fire, as long as you do not open a portal to a realm that screams at night, you'll be doing a much better job than the last group. And if you do come across Hirson, please inform him that we would like a little notice before his next party. Respectfully, of course.
I'm always respectful to her. All right. So, I mean, are you telling me that this other group were like as big idiots as him?
He looks over at Ori and he says, idiots is not the right word. They were quite capable, very powerful. However, they appeared to enjoy Adri's alehouse just a bit too much.
What manner of folk were they? Satyrs like me?
There was a dwarf, a tiefling, 2 elves, and a human.
And you don't have any idea what they were after?
This may come as a shock to you. I work here. This is my job. I don't really enjoy being here. I like reading books. I like soft music. And I enjoy quiet.
Noted. I mean, my job is being around that guy, so I get it.
I'm right here.
I'm good. Thank you for your help.
Might I suggest, if you would like to know more about these folk, asking, here's some.
Was what I was thinking of doing.
Okay, thank you.
You have a bath area here or a bath house that you recommend?
Your accommodations have everything that you should need.
And the screaming portal is gone?
Screaming portal.
He smiles and just kind of looks at you.
Right.
Has anyone taken the key? I'm grabbing the key and
Okay, you
I'm
take the
gonna
key.
go look for the
You
portal.
have. You begin to march around. As you walk off, he goes, not that way. And you turn around. He points the other direction.
Thank you.
That's the wrong way. And then he points the other direction across the courtyard. You can see a door in what is one of the 4 corner towers.
That's fine.
3rd floor.
Just deep breath, sorry.
You make your way over.
Hey, Ori, he might have something of yours too. You should take a look.
I'm looking for this fucking door so hard.
You almost run out the door and into the rain. No problem. You see, you
It's just
open this
people
door.
always seem to
No,
laugh
to
your stuff.
the door to our room.
Yeah. You open the door, make your way up to the 3rd floor, and on the 3rd floor,
Right.
This was at one point a castle. You can see there are battlements, ramparts. You can see there are the arrow slits that go down into the gatehouse. There is the drawbridge, which you already saw. There's a central keep. There are 4 towers, and as you kind of walk through, or you can see there's a big stone plaque right in the middle of the courtyard, right next to the fountain, and it's just a map, a layout of this campus. And you can see there are several stages. This is a performer's university, and so many things like that. There are also dormitories in all 4 corners of this building, and so you can make your way up to the 3rd floor. And as you unlock your door and open it up, the room is huge. These are vaulted ceilings, and so you can see these little dimpled elements that are bronze. And as you adjust your eyes, the magical lanterns that are embedded into the wall flicker on, and you can see each one is this gentle looking, it's supposed to be, the art that has the little angelic faces looking around. That's what it's supposed to be. And many of them look quite nice. There is one bed that you can see amongst the 4 that are in the 4 corners of the room. Each one has its own little nightstand, but one of them stands out in that it is entirely blackened, leading up as if a fierce fire began at the pillow and rose up to the ceiling. You can see fresh wood has been put in, so they replaced the whole ceiling. You can see on the floor clear signs of water damage. You can see that the wall out facing into the window, and what you can see is just mist, has been replaced relatively recently, the stone not matching the exterior outer brownstone. And so that corner badly damaged at one point. Most of the rest of the room looks fine. There's a little kitchen area. There's a fire that is lit, and you can see it goes up. There are pipes that lead into it, and so probably there are several fireplaces stacked that then lead to a central flue. But it's warm. It is huge. There is a secondary room that is kind of a bathroom. Huge, big clawed-foot tub. Billy just goes in, slams the door shut. And in this place, this is what would be considered fine accommodations. And there are very, very nice sets of like pillowcases. There are only 4 beds in this room. And so there is like a kind of empty room that seems to have like boxes and chests and bits of linen and stuff like that. And so there is 1 fewer bed than people. However, very, very nice accommodation.
As soon as we're in the door, Cheshire prestidigitates herself clean.
Okay.
Ugh, so much better, and runs over Clem's bed.
No problem. It's a soft bed. And as you like fall across it, there are like little feathers in the pillow. This is very nice accommodations.
Alina goes to claim a bed and sort of looks at Minka and pointedly looks at the burned bed. That's all.
Oh my god.
Making you go to the burn bed.
I go next to the burn bed and just wait for a second. Does it seem like, am I getting a bed?
So the bed itself, as you look at it, it's charred. There's a fresh pillow, fresh sheets and everything, but the bed itself was like crisped at one point. And so like as you kind of tap it, it like and like falls a little bit in, and you're like, I don't know if this is gonna hold my weight. And you're very light, and so like that's saying something. But nobody else for some reason seems to want to claim this bed.
I'm kind of like watching from the door, just like, oh, don't do it, but like also kind of do it because I don't want it.
I think she'll just start trying to like druid craft to try to reinforce as much of it to see if that'll help at all. Or
Make a Arcana check, yeah, sure, why not?
Did I get the
18.
I guess if I didn't get it and Cheshire hasn't noticed, I'm still trying to steal that alcohol.
I mean, immediately as soon as I'm laying in bed, that sucker's coming out.
Except that I may have stolen it while you were performing.
You have not stolen it. This is you didn't really have a chance in which like you would need to probably cause some kind of a distraction to be able to steal something, especially something like alcohol from Cheshire. You would need to have like some kind of an active plan properly. Is there something that you want to do? So like as Cheshire runs over to the bed and like begins to like jump up and time slows down.
My time.
Okay.
I'm gonna hatch a foolproof plan.
You like
steal valuables from Cheshire.
You like visualize all of this. You can
I'm starting to
imagine
play
this, like,
her
bottle.
game, and I'm fixing to win.
Okay.
I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start stealing stuff back. That's how I solve this problem.
Or he's like making a plan. This is the montage where like papers flying past. And he has like calculations, and he's like, I'm doing 1,000 calculations in all, and they're all wrong.
Pepe Sylvia.
That comes up every session. But no problem. You spend a little time plotting. It doesn't gain you any alcohol. But
Meanwhile, Cheshire downs the alcohol.
The next thing. I'm gonna steal stuff.
Chester, make a Constitution saving throw.
I'm not great at these.
As you reinforce the bed with an 18, that is pretty good. And with like willpower, knowing that like kind of looking around, all the beds are getting claimed. If you want to sleep somewhere, this is where it's going to be. You put a little extra time into this. Growing up from the wood, which is still unburned on the floor, you're able to make these like little twigs appear, and they kind of wind together and they form mats of thick branches that then eventually kind of become almost solid pillars. And the bed itself will probably break when you get in it, but this has now formed enough of a hammock kind of structure that you will still be relatively comfortable.
Okay. All right.
That is a 15.
15. Okay. That is a success, and so you're not like blackout drunk. However, one thing that you do note from this, the feeling that you get, quite bubbly, and at first you're like, oh, like a little upset stomach kind of feeling, but as it kind of rumbles and bubbles and you feel a burp well up, you burp and kind of up into the air a little bit, and then back into the bed.
I'm just giggling.
And it's almost like the kind of like moonwalking gravity. You are considered much lighter right now, and so you can kind of like, it's not quite flight or jump,
It's like
but
moon
you can
jumps.
what? Yeah, it's very much like moon jumps. You can kind of like, if you were to pop off the bed, you could just go about 10 feet before landing. And so you have this ability
So much fun.
for the next hour.
Yes. For the next
I'm
hour, this
hatching
is
a
bullshit.
plan.
No problem.
Was that the entire contents of the growler?
Yeah.
Billy's like this deep in the water. It's like,
Billy, this is a really, really nice bathroom. There's a clawed, you can see like feet that are almost lion paws that hold this bathtub aloft. And there are a number of like little glass jars that have various oils in them that are like essential oils. And so all kinds of smells and things. Very, very like floral in nature. But as you are in this bath and kind of considering this, there is like a moment where through the reflection and everything, you catch sight of your face. And it does look a little different for you, especially. I mean, it's your own face, and so you can see any real difference. Part of it is the fact that like there is like bruising and blotching from like the various fights you've been in the last 3 days. The other part of it, and this is something that happens anyways, the other part of it is your hair. Tangled, is it? And even in the water, as you kind of submerge it and you try to tease it out, it's harder than it used to be, for what it's worth. You take your bath, and for the rest of you, what are you doing? Cheshire is kind of like bouncing, literally bouncing off the walls.
And just giggling.
I think Alina's just like chewing on what she knows about this whole situation and trying to come up with a way to talk to her about it that she'll actually want to engage in.
Okay.
And I also think from Alina generally now is going to be like on the lookout for weird stuff.
Okay.
like anything that's beyond Billy's norm, Alina's gonna just try to keep an eye out because she's like, this isn't normal. Like something weird has happened here.
My friend.
Well, you know, there's
Make a flat intelligence check.
there's backstory that Alina knows that she's
She got switched with the changeling.
7.
A 7. I mean, dying probably takes a lot out of a person.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hard to tell. There is weird stuff happening all around you, and that also as like Cheshire runs. Just like it's kind of hard to like suss out what's weird. You look over, Minka is weaving branches together out of the floor to make a better bed. You look over, and Ori is just like looking at just like plotting, and you're like, well, finding something weird really easy. It's more about filtering out the weirdness to find the thing that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And
Billy comes out of the bathroom, like towel on her head, just like,
yeah, the towel like snagging in thorns and branches, and you like tug it out. Your hair very wet and kind of like tangled up amongst them. But you're alive, and that's really all that counts. So at this point, it is close to 7 o'clock at night. If you wish, we can fast forward to the next day, unless there's other things that you would like to attend to.
I'm trying to wait for Cheshire to fall asleep.
Okay.
And I'm trying to know where Cheshire has fallen asleep
Okay.
so that I can try to steal shit.
So are you just going to bed in this bed?
I mean, yes. However, Ori's not subtle staring.
No. Almost the entire time, just like actively plotting.
Watching you bounce back and forth.
Deliberately, like, make eye contact with him
I'm like,
and then roll over.
Billy's gonna put her like sheathed sword like next to her in the bed, and then like dagger beneath the pillow. Unsheath, it's because pillow.
Yeah. It's a sheath.
And just kind of like
But in a
eyes
good way this time.
open.
Ori, if you were like laying in bed, if you turn to the left, is Cheshire's back, but you remember her like staring at you. You're like, you turn over the other side, you can see Billy staring at you. You're like, you lay like on your back across the way, Minka. This hammock, and just like everywhere, just kind of everybody's looking at you though, for what it's worth. It's hard because every time you get ready to like try to be sneaky, you look over and like Billy falls asleep staring at you.
after like, I guess 2 hours of awkwardly sitting, or like, yeah, just sitting on the bed, I guess, laying down for another 4 hours to then wake up again and sit for another 2 hours, and maybe that window is where I'll try to steal from.
Okay. You do like your 4 hour kind of sleep, and as you wake up, Billy's still staring at you, but she's just like and just like intense gaze.
It's unsettling.
But in these quiet hours, if you want to try to steal something from Cheshire, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check. Cheshire, at disadvantage, make a perception check.
I hope
Yeah.
18.
26.
Okay.
Oh,
In this
how the
moment,
day must have
You're able to creep over. You like wait every now and then. Like it's almost like Billy is watching you. The eyes you swear are following you. But at a certain point, you're like, I just can't look, and you have to like turn your back. You creep over to where Cheshire is. What are you trying to take?
Whatever I can find that would seem to be the most valuable possession.
What's on your person?
So many things.
A lot of things, yeah.
Also, like my money back.
Well, coin purse, there's 3 platinum, 113 gold, 8 silver, and 89 copper. A set of panpipes, very nice. Dagger, thieves' tools. I have a small finger harp in there. The panther hilt sword, 7 goblin choppers, an oil flask, 2 bottles with some dead fireflies on them, a small wooden orb, a gold ring with a citrine, a copper key, a collapsible fishing rod, rope, string, both of which look very familiar to you.
It's like 30% of this stuff. You're like, wait, this says Ori on it.
My mom said my name is.
It's like, did Cheshire write my name in the stuff she stole from me?
The moon tiara I stole from you.
Okay.
1 25 gold pearl,
Okay, this satisfies me.
square glass bottle with a lid, and the empty growler.
I would like to take my tiara back.
Is this the crown that you got?
It is a little circlet, yeah.
With stars.
You're gonna call it everything but
Panpipes.
circlet.
In retribution. That seems like the fitting one.
Okay.
And then, is the wooden orb a wooden orb that Minka would like?
It's a wooden orb.
Is there anything more, like something that Minka would like? Because the orb seemed like the most, or the pearl. The pearl? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
taking
maybe
the
the
pearl.
pearl.
I'm taking the pearl. I'm taking that pearl. That was my pearl anyway.
Okay. You take all that. You take the little circlet of delicate silver mesh, little moonstones, kind of reflect that asterism in the darkness.
Oh, and the string and rope.
And you take the string and rope as well. The string and rope less
And
reflective.
a
in the
platinum, a
darkness.
single platinum.
The platinum about medium on the reflexive scale, but yeah, you take a single platinum piece.
All right. And that's it. And then I am keeping it all on high alert, level 20 guard forever.
Okay.
What's the
Always
subclass
on high alert, level 20, unless I need to elevate again against anything that Cheshire tries to do.
So for the first,
ask Alina to squirrel stuff away in her ring.
for one of the first times,
I would
you
like
guys
to
have a
be
watch
allowed my
posted
own
as you
possessions
sleep
on
in
my
this guild
person.
hall. So, or you keep watch, and nobody ambushes you over the course of the night.
Nice.
You can all mark off a long rest.
Yay!
In the morning, surprisingly, it is still raining outside. The sounds of like instruments and things being practiced around much louder as people are kind of going about their daily activities. Today, excuse me, the 12th of Summertide, we're on a Wednesday now.
Why are my eyes dry?
Still?
I would also like to be out of the room before Cheshire wakes up.
Okay. Make your way out into the hallway. There are people going to and from classes, people lugging instruments around. You do hear a couple people talking about this eulogy tournament. What are you doing?
I'm going to go towards the Sorrowful Rain.
Okay.
The place that we suspect Dire Croak to be staying.
No problem. You make your way there. For the rest of you, you wake up. Ori's gone. But what would you like to do?
Did you just leave without us?
Because I don't
It
want
always works that
Cheshire
way.
to recognize the.
your stuff.
Now we have to hide from Cheshire forever.
So we should go find him, right?
Oh, yes, very much.
Cheshire, you wake up and like instantly, first thing you do every morning, look through your stuff. And you're like, yep, it happened. You look around, there is one person missing. Who could have taken things? Hard to
Who
tell.
could have been staring awkwardly all night long?
Hard to tell. But
What's wrong?
My eyes are pretty dry.
They're still dry after.
Or he just thinks he's being clever.
I don't know how. Minka, do you have any herbs that can help dry eyes?
Do I have any herbs that can help with dry eyes?
And are-
Because I like look through her stuff.
Do you have like a potion of Visine?
Vicine, the potion.
Yeah.
No, you probably don't. But Billy, as you like take some time, you're blinking now, and for the first time tonight, closing your eyes. After a little bit, the lacrimal ducts open up, and you
Oh,
feel.
no, I got it.
Trying because her eyes were open. I was like, oh, this is a weird
I could tell. I could tell you were getting it, but it's great. Oh.
I genuinely was like, oh, that's a thing that I need to pay attention to.
No, I'm
That's
just
a really good joke.
playing a bit.
I liked your bit.
Thank you. Gotta commit to it.
Always commit to the bit.
So, I suppose we should go find Ori?
Well, yes. We also need to go find out about Direcroak. We need to collect plants from the Feywild. I got the vial of water elemental.
Oh, thank God.
So,
Thanks.
there you go.
Yeah. It really sticks it in her.
Yeah.
Walking out.
Okay. You make your way out.
I'm finding Ori.
Okay. You attempt to go and find Ori, or you make your way to the House of Sorrowful Rains. This is the monastery that you have heard people go to deal with grief. This was a castle at one point, and so you can see actually in many ways very similar to the place in which you spent the last night. Almost like a twin castle to it. But this place, this is a castle that is built of brownstone. Unlike the other one, there are some subtle kind of mosaic patterns that are pressed into it. And as you get to like the area that is open to the courtyard, similar to the one that you've been in, there are pieces of ceramic that have actually been worked into the brownstone. And at first it just looks like almost crushed bits of pottery. But as you get a little closer and there is kind of a crack of lightning and you can see a little better for a moment, the relief shows you that there is subtle raised bumps that have been worked into the mosaic as well. You can see off to the right, there is what is called the Melody Canal, a little smaller that leads to the main one, eventually kind of going up a waterlock. There is a moat, not like the one that you saw, that is like a canal kind of broken into a pond or a reservoir. This one, you can see straight down to the ground because it is set in glass bricks. And so the water almost seems to float above the ground a little bit. You can also see that it's disappearing into a tunnel, and here it does run pretty fast, not just like a slow reservoir. There are candles that are housed in geometric lanterns of glass and bronze that form abstract humanoid faces and dim light along this 20-foot path over this glass-lined canal. And on the other side, through thick walls of stone, there's this cobblestone courtyard. There's a bubbling fountain, smooth stone, several benches. There are a few people that you can see through the mist here. And though everywhere else in Petrichor, you've seen just cobblestone, not a whole lot of plant life living in the ever-raining place, not a lot of sun, you do see in the courtyard there are olive trees. And they blow in the wind here gently. That is what you see.
No, of the folks who are in this courtyard area, are there any grung, or does it all seem like they're
Just Direcroak just
Any
reading a
grung
book.
here? No, you get a little closer, make a perception
I'm
check.
kind of like, I'm casing the joint essentially, like
Yeah.
not actively going in, but
Have you heard the good news?
casually.
There's commune up north.
What am I rolling? Perception?
Yeah.
That's not good. It's probably too rainy. 13.
13. You look around. There's a lot of people here, and as they kind of drift through the mist, there are shorter ones, there are taller ones. In fact, one very tall one kind of separates and approaches you. Sitting at about 6'7", you can see like a pretty soft face. They're not fat. It's almost like they're an elf, but the skin a little bit more full than you've seen on other elves. Not the like square jawline or the super thin features. A little bit more rounded. He wears simple dark clothing, consists of a black tunic, many dark buttons down the middle, and gray pants. But he regards you, and he seems to be somebody who is maybe like a caretaker of this place. And they approach, and looking at you, they say, "Have you lost someone?"
Yes.
"What do you seek?" And they turn, and you can see like this long hand comes out and it rests on your shoulder. Hand is huge, not like supernaturally so. They're a huge person, and so it is a little disconcerting, but they pull it away and it retracts into this dark sleeve.
Well, I seek the person that I've lost, but I think you're speaking in a more metaphorical sense of loss.
He turns,
Physical.
and like as you see the people walking through the courtyard here, they move almost like ghosts. A lot of like gray robes, a lot of people who are dressed for mourning. And this person turns to you and they say, "Indeed."
Well, there's an abundance of that, but that's not especially why I'm here. I was just passing through, actually.
Respectfully,
Respectfully.
this is a place where people come to heal. This is not a place to poke around.
Well, I do have some interest in healing.
Be
Perhaps
that as it may.
insight from folks as dedicated to the craft as yourselves.
We do not heal. We deal with the dead.
And help others to heal from their mourning, correct?
Correct. In a more metaphorical way.
That is sort of why I'm here. You see, I've come from very far away, and I find it hard to mourn for those who have fallen in my life. And so I came seeking guidance, if that is something that you offer here.
Make a deception check. The rest of you walk up, and as you can see through the mist, a little bit of like you can see Ori, the little like of hair coming out of the ponytail in the back. He's like pretty tall.
Natural 20!
Okay.
I want my stuff back.
He's talking to this tall
I'm sneaking
individual.
into this fucking place before you can get it.
He looks at you, and as you say that, you channel elements of your past that do feel like loss. Maybe a little bit different than what you're talking about, but still something being taken. And as you channel that emotion into this speech, excuse me, as you channel that into the speech, he regards you and seems to read the genuineness of that emotion. He nods a little bit and he says, "Perhaps this is a place for you after all.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you.
Come." And he like turns again, this hand out and like comes across your back. His thumb and his middle finger touch each of your shoulders. And he kind of like guides you through the crowd. A few people kind of nod respectfully to you as you pass. Almost everybody here has their
I
face
return the
covered
nods.
in one way or
Respectful
another.
nods.
Is there like a I know there is. Like when you go to like a house of mourning, there's like a palpable atmosphere.
Yeah.
Billy hangs back a little bit.
Okay. What are you doing?
Stealing my stuff.
Okay. So you have to follow through this space. You can see all these people, and you stand out a little bit. Everything that you wear, bright pink, bright blonde hair. There are like little sparkles in your step as you walk, and so you certainly stand out. You can hear murmuring as you walk through. A few people nod to you in a similar way to Ori, not necessarily like taken aback by this, but this is certainly a different way of mourning. You make your way through without any problem, but I would say, Ori, in the silence of this place, in this somber kind of feeling, you do notice a difference.
I'm on level 20 high alert.
Yeah, you're on level 20 high alert, and so certainly you can hear like this kind of murmurs and everything.
Locking everything down.
And
as
even
we
before
go.
that, there's a part where somebody in the dark, and you go, Cheshire, and you turn and you look. And so no matter what it was, you're assuming it's Cheshire, but in this moment, you hear murmuring and Cheshire. You imagine, much like everything else, probably Cheshire.
Yeah. Like casually but solemnly keeping my hands kind of like in a respectful way, but also keeping them on all of the shit that I stole.
Sure. No problem. He guides you into this main castle. It is much darker than the other one, but again, there are certain similarities. Whoever built this castle, the same person who probably built that other one. Same kind of vaulted ceilings, same kind of pattern to the walls and the floors, the same sort of inset rooms that lead up to slightly raised hallways. But as he guides you through, make a perception check. There are a lot of people walking around here. Dark tunics, dark robes.
9.
9.
Almost the worst I can do.
You reach a desk. You don't really see any faces as you walk. But on this desk, there's a huge black-bound book, and you can see names, all different kinds of people. And there are 3 columns. One, you can see says Searcher. The other one, Those Lost. And then the final one has what looks like a little space for writing room numbers. And so like kind of like scribbled over multiple rooms, multiple names. But he points to a space that is empty next to a room that is labeled 28. And he says, please, fill this out, and when you're ready, I'll show you to your space.
What? So, Searcher,
There's a
Those
place
Lost
for
in the room
you would
number?
imagine a place for your name, a place to put down the name of the person that you've lost, and then the room number already filled out, 28.
Oh, man. All right. Fuck.
Surprised your horse hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to, yeah, I'm gonna put Ori. And then I'm gonna put my horse's name that I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna write that down, and then the room number is already there, right?
Yeah, 28.
Yeah.
So no problem. You write that
Hanging
down.
back like you're not going inside at all, or just like back from where Ori is.
I'm hanging back from the group.
Okay. Alina's gonna try to hang back with
While
Billy
I'm
too,
writing that,
regardless of
can I
whether she thinks she
glance
wants her
up
to.
to see if there's any dire croak
Make an investigation
listed
check.
down?
No problem. Minka, what are you doing?
She's been kind of like following Cheshire, and then noticing that like everyone's like drifting away, and then just being like, and then the like a very solemn place we're going to, and it's like Cheshire.
Cheshire's gone.
Oh no.
You can see, you look around, you're in a misty courtyard. You look back, there is mist obscuring the drawbridge. So you don't see Alina and Billy, you don't see Ori, you don't see Minka. And as you look around in the mist, it's just like ghostly figures moving through, and it's just you in blue and bright green. And people kind of like look at you and murmur a little bit, but you're kind of alone now. All of your friends are gone. Alina and Billy, the two of you hang back, staying on the other side of this canal. What are you doing?
Billy, are you okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
No. You don't have to stay. You should probably follow Minka.
Can I do? Can I do an insight check to see whether she really wants me to leave?
Make an insight check.
You can leave.
16.
Billy with a 16. What are they able to read on Billy's face?
Billy doesn't want to go in, because that's a place where you finalize that the dead are dead. And Billy doesn't want to think about that.
So this is what Alina gleans?
Yeah.
We don't have to go in. We can just stay outside. We'll keep an eye out. We'll keep lookout. Come on. And she's gonna try to lead her to the door.
Billy will go with.
Okay. You lead Billy in. You can see these two people passing you. One of them just goes, it just seems like such weird colors to be wearing there. And the other one kind of like turns and like puts their hand around them and just goes, it's okay. We're coming home now. You see eyes, and they pass you. You make your way in, and Minka, suddenly behind you, these two figures materialize. You turn. Oh. For a moment, you're not sure whether to be relieved or not, but it is Billy and Alina.
I lost track of Cheshire, but I think we can just kind of head in, I guess. I don't know.
We're gonna keep watch out here. You go.
Okay.
So she's gonna kind of like walk into the mist and be like, I hope this is the correct direction.
You can see this dark doorway loom up, and when you pass in, you go out of the mist, out of the rain, and into this dark space. You can see there's like people passing, and at the very end, you watch as Ori and this super tall figure just into this room. The room that you are led into, almost like in ways it looks kind of like a prison cell, but more in line of like a monastic cell. Very bare. There's a very, very simple cot. There's a very, very simple chair that is positioned out in front of a window that is probably about 4 feet tall, quite wide, like a is it called a picture window, bay window, something like that? The big ones. Yeah. It's like a big window that just looks out into the courtyard. You can see there's like a number of other windows, very similar in all 4 of those towers that kind of look into the central space. There's glass here, so that separates you from the outside and creates at least a warmer environment. It's quiet, and all you can really hear is the tap of rain on glass. The individual sits there and kind of hovers for a moment, and then just says, everyone mourns in their own way. If you should require anything, go to the central hall. You can find somebody dressed like me. We're here for helping. Letting go is hard.
At what point do I catch up?
Not quite yet.
Right. Letting go is hard. Thank you. What was your name?
Plath.
Plath.
Yes.
Thank you, Plath.
He turns. He regards you like over his shoulder just for a moment. There's still something that like doesn't quite ring true, but with a natural 20, he turns around and walks down the hall. He passes most of you. He does stop and he looks at you very peculiarly, and you can see, similar to like Ori, he almost goes to approach you and then just kind of continues to walk.
Not even seeing him. Just
Can I shut this
problem.
door?
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually shut the door and take a minute in there. That
Yeah,
sounds
sure.
nice.
barreling in.
And you shut the door open, and Cheshire, pink and blonde, just explodes into this very small space.
What are you doing?
Stop!
What are you?
Stop!
Stop it! No,
Give it
this,
back!
I don't. Stop it!
You like hand fight away. You go for grabbing things. Absolutely. The two of you, as you make your way, and Minka, as you get in,
This is a
you
place
stop
of
it! And you're
mourning.
like, oh, and you like make your way down.
This is a
You can
place of
see
mourning.
This tall person turns, and like they begin to take a couple steps, and then you hear, "This is a place of mourning," and you hear him just go, "He's gone." And he just kind of continues to walk past you. He looks at you and again just shakes his head. So you can make your way over, and as you go in, Ori is on his back, like up against the chair, up against the glass window, like fighting with Cheshire, who's slightly floating a little bit and like kind of pulling things away and then landing back down. Yeah.
There's a window that everyone can see you.
You turn and like out the window there's like 4 or 5 people who are just like looking. They look like a little bit aghast. There's one person who is kind of smiling a little bit, but
I don't have it.
Yes, you do.
Whatever you think I have, I don't have.
unselling words. Okay.
Subtract 5 from your next from your next saving throw, and you can make a wisdom saving throw.
And what does this look like, whatever you're casting on Ori?
You've seen me do it before. Can I pinch and like just hold down?
No. Wisdom save?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I think it's gonna turn around and see if she can get a sense.
Natural 20!
Subtract 5.
Still natural 20. So, but that does make it
11.
an 18.
That's still a success. So without any trouble, you in this place, it's less that you
Level
resist
20
the
high
spell,
alert.
and it's more that you in this place where you have just been like, you're about to take a moment, and this seems kind of nice, and is a place for mourning. This is more out of sheer trying to be respectful of this place, resisting the spell to not create a scene. This is you about to throw up at like a really important funeral, and you swallow it for the sake of your family and not embarrassing them and not puking on your
Full
grandma.
scene. Tantrum, banging glass, hitting Ori, whole mess. Biggest disaster zone I can make.
Can I somehow push her out of the room and lock the door?
You can try. Make competing athletic checks, I guess. Minka, this is all happening. Are you doing anything to intervene with this?
Minka's just gonna kind of close the door and then turn around, standing outside of it, like trying to like gauge
Also
if
19.
like. Is someone going to come escort us out right now, or are we just kind of people are accepting
There
this
is
is weird?
certainly a group now that is kind of gathered around, and you turn and you look, and that tall elf has stopped at the end of the hall, and you can see this is a person who is at work. They are hoping that this blows over, but they are guessing it won't, and so they're waiting and waiting, and they're waiting for something to like break before they go and like deal with it. And so probably pretty soon. Make a perception check as you look around this hallway.
We competed and we both got 19s.
Very nice.
Oh, great! So this is just gonna keep happening behind me.
Oh no.
I can do math for my thing. That is many numbers. 24.
24.
Many numbers is good numbers.
Ori, Cheshire, you both are grabbing onto this multiple times now, cut apart and tied back together rope. It has been Ori's rope on several occasions, and it has been several different pieces of rope at different times. But at this point, it is one, and you tug on one side and then the other, and then back, and then forth. Minka, you watch this and you're like, oh no, you look, you see the guy, he's gonna start coming over. Oh no, you turn, and across the hall, room 27, you can see open. The window open, and two little orange legs wriggle out, and then this gray robed figure into the courtyard.
And I just like whip my head around and go, Dare, go straight out the window. And then Mika's gonna like
I
start.
let go of the rope so that Cheshire falls, and then I sprint over her.
You can add a rope back to your inventory. You sprint, making your way down the hall.
My stuff.
Nope, I'm running.
My stuff.
So at this moment, you are grappled, and you are not running because that is what you are choosing to do.
What?
You look, and you can see your companions like still tug of warring on a rope. But Ori lets go. Cheshire grabs onto his ankles. At this point, Ori almost falls, catches himself in the door frame. You have to like back out of the door frame for a
Breaking the
second.
grapple, I'm breaking the grapple, I'm running.
Do we see him leave?
Make a perception check.
Did the direction go towards the front or toward like out?
Towards the front and like towards the drawbridge, so they will be running past your companions. Maybe they'll
So
catch them.
seeing that they're a lost cause, Minka's just gonna start like speed walking
Yeah.
towards them, knowing that they're out there, and kind of just be like, he's running.
Minka out through the mist. He's running. And what did you roll?
12?
Okay.
I got a 7.
You don't see anything, but as Minka comes out and points, it's like the mist out, and you see all the way across the courtyard, 120 feet away, getting close to the drawbridge, this figure turns, and underneath this robed face, you can see orange grung. You can see like black dots. They kind of squint, and as they make eye contact with you across, they turn, the hood goes down, and they book it into the mist.
Eldritch Blast.
And because it is 10, this is where we're going to end for this evening. But
Before he gets more than 120 feet away.
he's at 120 feet, so you'll get a chance to do that. But when we come back next week, we will begin a chase.
Yay!
Thank you so much for joining us for this session of Adventures in Alberon, Courts of Everest. We'll be back next week, just like we said, but if you can't wait that long, on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please join us for Mosaic Team 5 as the group, the entire Perdido arc comes to a head in the Governor's Villa high atop a sandstorm on the planet of Akaton.
Everything is going to be fine.
Until then, please stay safe. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.